So hey guys, how are you all? Welcome to. So we are back with a brand new movie on what if Naruto became doctor and private treatment of Tenten movie, but before we start, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Now let's begin the story. It's not fair, a 6-year blonde boy muttered. The blonde boy eyes, which held so much pain, looked to the congregation of people surrounding the academy. Adults gathered around their children, praising them for their success and listening to their stories as they walked home. The blonde protagonist of this story looked on towards the people with pain in his eyes. The blonde boy was currently on a lone swing, starting back with his deep blue ocean eyes. Also his unruly and spiky blonde hair untamable and with 3 straight horizontal lines across each cheek, and just wearing a black t-shirt with an orange spiral on the front and wearing a pair of orange pants. Naruto let out a huge sigh. It's not fair. What did I ever do wrong to the villagers? Why do they hate me? It's not fair. How come I am so rubbish in shinobi skills? It's not fair. How come I don't have any parents? That was the biggest thought running through Naruto's head. How come he was an orphan and had no one to love him? With those thoughts, Naruto got up and started walk back home to his apartment. Ever since he was 4, the orphanage had kicked out Naruto and refused to have him live there, saying that he shouldn't even be alive. These comments brought tears to Naruto's innocent face. However, not all was lost. The kindest person in the village gave Naruto a new home and would visit him quite often, nearly twice a week. That person was known as the 3rd Hokage and was currently waiting for Naruto to come home. As Naruto reached home and opened his door, he was greeted with a great sight. "Old man Hokage, what are you doing here?" Naruto shouted enthusiastically to the aged Hokage. The gray-haired Hokage looked at Naruto with a small smile. Some people might call this disrespect, but Hokage knew that Naruto only said that to the people close to him. Also, the Hokage took it as a sign that Naruto was still alive on the inside and he still was a child. "So Naruto, judging from your voice, you were happy with your arrangement at the academy?" Sarutobi questioned in a kind voice. But the old Hokage looked at the young vessel and knew he said something wrong, and his suspicions were answered when Naruto spoke next. "It's great, old man, but," Naruto spoke hesitantly, "it's just not fair. I have no one. All the kids either make fun of me or beat me up." Tears started to fall down the kind child's face as he confessed to the Hokage all the years of pain bottled up and emotions were starting to be released. "There's a limit to how much a child can keep in. And the adults are worse. The parents all give me glares and the teachers just pick on me, making me look like a fool. It's not fair." Naruto was now freely crying and didn't stop. The old man felt like a real jerk for breaking the boy's spirit, so he got up and hugged him, telling to let it all out. After several minutes, Naruto had calmed down and now was just sniffing, with the Hokage taking his seat again. "Old man," the most powerful man in the village, brought his head up to look up. "I have been doing a lot of thinking lately and I have come to realize." Sarutobi looked up at Naruto with astonishment. He knew Naruto was not dumb, but right now he was showing great maturity. "That I need to become stronger so people can acknowledge me. You know what, old man, I have a dream." The professor had an even more curious face and he was wondering what Naruto was going to say. "I'm going to become Hokage. No, the best Hokage ever, surpassing the previous ones, then everyone will acknowledge me." Naruto finished off with a huge grin. Sarutobi just looked at Naruto with surprise. Even after all his treatment from the villagers, he declared he was going to become the village protector. Sarutobi couldn't help but smile at Naruto's declaration. Hey, old man, please train me, please. See, I have no one else to be trained by. All the kids have parents or personal tutors. How about it, old man? Huh? Naruto asked with a passion. The 3rd Hokage looked down. "I am sorry, Naruto, I cannot train you. I just don't have the time to do so," Sarutobi replied dejectedly. In Sarutobi's mind, though, the real reason would be the council would just not allow him, and he was also taking into account the Yondaime wishes. Flashback. 6 years ago. Sarutobi, cough. "Please look out for Naruto for me." The Yondaime coughed more blood up. "Also, when he's ready, give him my scrolls to him." Sandaime looked at the young man with tears brimming his eyes and gave him a nod as to say, "Yes, I will. Also, don't train him personally, cough. Even though I want the village to view him as a hero, cough. I know he won't be, cough. So he needs to be strong by himself, cough. He needs to grow by himself. He needs to be strong from the beginning, cough. Goodbye, old man, make sure you protect my home." With that, the hero of Konoha died, and Konoha would never be the same. As one hero died, another one was born. "Don't worry, Yondaime, I will. End of flashback. Naruto bowed his head down dejectedly. "But that does not mean I cannot help you out," Sarutobi stated. Naruto's head whipped up at wicked speed that Sarutobi might have thought he might have got whiplash. So old man, how you going to help me, huh?" Naruto asked eagerly. Well, because I cannot train you, does not mean I cannot help you, Sandaime said wisely. Naruto being Naruto shouted back, you already said that, old man, just tell me. Sarutobi chuckled at Naruto's enthusiasm, okay Naruto, just calm down. You see Naruto, it might be hard for me to get a sensei for you, so what I want you to do is to take this. Sarutobi reaches inside his robe and takes out a plastic gold-colored card. Naruto looked at it curiously, wondering what it is. You see Naruto, this card is your ticket in to buying anything you want. All you have to do is show it to the clerk and charge it to my personal account. Now see here, my boy. You must use this with a level-headedness. I am trusting you, not go and ruin my account. Sarutobi explained to Naruto in a calm voice. Don't worry, old man, you can trust me, Naruto said with huge smile on his face. But how is buying anything I want going to make me stronger? Naruto queried with a confused face. Ah well, my boy, you see here, with this card you can purchase ninja equipment and books you want, Sarutobi replied back. Naruto, I want you to go this store, it's called Kai's Corner Store. You see Naruto, it's not really a corner store, the store is really a cover for up-and-coming ninjas to buy anything they want to do with shinobis. We cannot have enemy shinobis buying our books now, can we? Sarutobi lectured to the 6-year-old boy. Well, Naruto, I hope that can help you, Sarutobi said in a soft voice. Don't worry, old man, I will make you proud, said in a huge shout. Before the wise Hokage left, Naruto left him a parting speech. Old man, you have always been there for me no matter what, the one who's always been kind to me. You gave me home, you put me school, and now this. For that, old man, I am forever grateful, Naruto stated compassionately. Well, Naruto, you are part of Konoha and it's a Hokage's job, no obligation to look out for everyone in the village. Everyone in this village is my family, including you, so Naruto, your family as well? Sarutobi replied back with equal compassion. As Sarutobi left and closed the door of Naruto's apartment, you could see a silent Naruto crying tears of joy. Don't worry, old man, I am going to make you proud, I promise, and I never break a promise, Naruto whispered to himself confidently. As soon as the old man left, Naruto went straight towards his only clock. The time was 8:43 p.m. Damn, it's already this late. I wanted to go to that store. Oh well, I guess there's always tomorrow, Naruto said to himself while rummaging his cupboards for a cup ramen. Ah man, only a vegetable one left. Oh well, ramen is ramen, he giggled to himself while preparing his instant food. I wonder what I should buy with this new card, Naruto thought to himself. After pouring the hot water into his cup and waiting for 3 minutes. Damn, I hate these 3 minutes the worst, Naruto mumbled to himself. While eating his ramen, Naruto thought he definitely needed to get more ramen. But what about training? Maybe I should have asked the old man something, or maybe the person at the store could help. Then I will definitely get stronger and show people who I am really, and then they will acknowledge me. These were the thoughts of the young 6-year-old boy as he ate his food and went to sleep. Just as he went to sleep, Naruto announced to himself, tomorrow's a new beginning for Uzumaki Naruto. Beep beep beep. A loud sound was ringing through the room of a blonde demon vessel. Aw man, I hate that damn alarm, grudgingly said to himself. What, it's only 6:30? Oh man, I left the alarm on, it's Saturday. Well, it won't matter anyway because I need to go to that shop and start my shinobi training. All right, here goes nothing, Naruto stated to himself. Naruto got ready and had a quick breakfast, as he was so excited he could hardly eat anything. He dressed in his usual clothes from yesterday as those were the only things he had. Okay, today is the birth of Konoha's Naruto said to himself, trying to think of a nickname. Oh well, I will come with something eventually. With that, a 6-year-old Naruto sped out of his apartment, not forgetting to lock the door, running towards Kai's store. Naruto was so happy and excited that he completely ignored the villagers' stare, humming an off-tune song. Naruto squealed with delight at seeing the store and started to walk confidently towards it and entered the shop. It was really weird. It was like this store was out of some horror film where an unsuspecting idiotic kid runs into a store and gets chopped up into pieces. No one would think Naruto was horror buff, but hey, appearances are deceiving. Excuse me, is anyone here? Naruto called out while looking at the store. They had 3 dining chairs but no table. What's the point having that? Naruto was thinking, man. I think I came to the wrong store. It's weird, how come I never noticed this store before? Naruto thought to himself as he looked around the creepy store. Hey kid, what the hell are you doing here? A gruff voice called out, of a tall white-haired dark green-eyed man wearing a dark blue robe showing of his muscular chest. Well, sir, I, was sent. Naruto's words were all jumbled up because of the man's intense stare. He felt like saying, well, if you stop looking at me like that then maybe I could answer you. But thankfully he didn't. So he did the only thing he could think, which was take out the Hokage's gold card. After seeing it, the strange man looked at it and shouted out loud. Oh, so you're the kid Sandaime was talking about. Come Come in, you need to come to the back of the store to check out our special stuff, hee hee hee. The old man said with a sadistic giggle in the end. Well, as you know, my name is Kai, I run this corner shop. Take a look at anything you want except the scrolls, of course, he said with a very businesslike voice. Naruto looked around the large store with total confusion. He had no idea what to buy and what not to buy. So he did the most logical thing, which was, ask the store owner. Hey sir, what do you recommend for me? I mean, I am only 6 years old, Naruto asked the man in an innocent voice. Well, why don't you start by getting some of these books? They will help you throughout your life. Now let me tell you this, kid, some people think these books are useless. Now let me tell you this, Aegean, they are idiots and will never amount to anything. You can take these chakra weights with the manual, of course, and some of these shuriken kunai and couple karate suits, like the stuff Ryu wears from Street Fighter. And well, I think that's what you need about now. We do stock scrolls, but unfortunately we can't give them to civilians or academy students. Once you pass each ninja grade, then we can give them to you. Well, seeing as these items are heavy, why I don't have them delivered to you free of charge? How about, kid? Kai said this all in one breath. He also had this really sly smile and glint in his eye. Naruto guessed that he made his day by buying this stuff. Oh well, this is all for gold to become Hokage, Naruto thought to himself. Thanks, mister, you have been a great, and when I am Hokage I can make sure you retire early and live a sweet life, Naruto outshouted in a big voice. Ha 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 ha, kid, this is my retirement, ha 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 ha, Kai replied back while laughing out loud. Oh well, whatever floats your boat. Oh yeah, old man, I will definitely be back for those scrolls and maybe some other stuff, thanks a whole bunch, Naruto shouted back while running out of the store. Wow, once I get those books I am going to start training really hard, Naruto thought. Then I will show everyone who Uzumaki Naruto really is. Naruto thought this while running back to his house. I guess I need a signature weapon and technique. But how do I do that? Well, I guess those books will help me. Oh, I almost forgot, I need to get some food, Naruto thought frantically while running off in another direction. As Naruto came towards his door, he noticed a couple of people coming towards it. He saw a person dropping some stuff at his front door. Hey, are you the delivery man from Kai's store? Naruto asked eagerly. Aw, so you're the kid, well aren't you lucky that you came now, well here you are, the delivery is free of charge, happy reading, kid, replied back a normal looking man with a cap on backwards. As Naruto set his grocery down in his kitchen, he went towards to his delivery, moving away the weapons and chakra weights, which seemed to weigh absolutely nothing, and that sparked his interest. Naruto then put aside his weights and looked at his books that stood there in all their glory. Yes, this is so kick-ass, I am going to read all these books as soon as possible, Naruto said to himself in an excited whisper. Well, let's see what these books are, Naruto murmured to himself. Chakra for Dobis, the theory of element jutsus as taijutsu for dropouts. Ninjutsus for Dobis, genjutsus for weaklings, fighting styles. Shinobi weapons, Konoha, history, creation of your own jutsus. How to be the best shinobi. Well, they look like really useful for making jutsus. Naruto spoke out loud. Oh, I need to wear my weights now, let's see, Naruto mumbled to himself. With that, Naruto put on all his weights but felt nothing. Wow, this is strange. I mean, shouldn't I feel something right about now? Oh yeah, I should read the manual. Hee, I am such a dunce sometimes, Naruto, who chuckled at his own lame joke. Okay, it says here put weights on, blah, blah, blah. Oh here we, Naruto mumbled to himself. While looking at the manual, it said you needed to pump a small amount of chakra into the weights. Only 1% each time, or your bones might turn into dust from the intense weight of the weights. What the hell is chakra? Naruto confusingly asked out loud. Well, I guess I have to read the chakra book. It's a good thing I can read. Naruto laughed out loud yet again at another one of his lame-ass jokes. So Naruto spent 2 hours reading chakra for Dobis and getting the ins and outs of how to use it and summon it. By the end of it, he real grasp of chakra. Wow man, why can't the academy instructor explain it like that? Then life would so much easier, Naruto shouted out in frustration. Okay, I guess now I can use these weights properly. I need to pump 1%. Hang on, how much is 1%? Naruto said with a confused face. Ah! Naruto screamed out in frustration. Why couldn't he just give me normal weights? An annoyed Naruto continued his rant. Naruto went into his book and started to read it, trying to find a solution. When trying to separate chakra, it's best to think of it as a big box full 100 balls. If you want to take out 5 of chakra, you take out 5 balls, and if you want to take out 10 of chakra, you take out 10 balls. Wow, this book is really good now, I clearly understand this chakra mumbo jumbo, Naruto cheekily said. Naruto proceeded to visualize a big box with balls filled inside it and took out 1 ball. With that, he could clearly pump 1% of his chakra into the weights. But what Naruto did not count on was the sheer force of which the weights put him under. The weight was so much that Naruto fell to the ground in a heap. Crap, it feels like someone's pushing me down with all their weight, Naruto thought to himself. Okay, I have to get used to this if I want to be Hokage, Naruto shouted out in determination. After an hour or so of getting used to the weights, Naruto stood up and was able to walk. It was when he was walking he noticed a couple of pieces of paper, which seemed to be wrapped in plastic. What's this? Chakra affinity paper, huh? I wonder what this is, Naruto blurted out, holding out the alien object. Naruto held it up high. To Naruto it looked like ordinary paper. It says pour chakra into the paper to find out which element you lean towards. I guess I wonder what's mine. Naruto queried what element he could possibly be. When he poured chakra into the paper it cut in half. Wow, it's wind, huh? I guess I am naturally aligned to wind. That is so cool, Naruto said in an excited voice. Now that the ninjutsu side of training was taken care of, Naruto could focus on his taijutsu. I guess I can learn any taijutsu style. I know that part is easy and I can come up with some cool moves, but what about a weapon? Naruto asked himself. Well, I always like staffs, they just seem really cool. I guess I could get one, but that would mean I would have to get a metal one, which would be super cool, Naruto stated excitedly. But what about genjutsu? I mean, I do have to learn those as well. Oh well, I will cross that bridge once I get to it. Dismissing genjutsus completely. I guess I should go to the old man for some wind jutsus and try and create my own jutsus, Naruto thought to himself. God, how many times have I written himself? In this chapter I got to find a better phrase. So Naruto spent at least 2 weeks reading the books and getting used to the weights. He had also gone to the old man to get some wind jutsus and other ninjutsus. Naruto's attitude on a whole changed. He no longer shouted out in class or made fool of himself. According to one of his books, looking underneath the underneath. A shinobi should always stay silent and passive. It made sense. I mean, shinobi are supposed to be the silent killers. They weren't a bunch of rowdy samurai now, were they? Naruto's training had started him of doing basic chakra control exercises by trying to mold chakra. He had already mastered how to do hand signs already. All he really needed to do was speed it up. Going to the Hokage helped him out greatly, as the old man gave him a huge scroll of ninjutsu. He remembered how he got it as well. Flashback 2 weeks ago. Naruto came striding into the old Hokage's office, his head held up and shouting out his demand. Hey old man, I need help with my training. Give me some jutsus so I can learn them at home, Naruto demanded from the Hokage. Well Naruto, I don't want to play favorite. I have already given you my card, which by the way you happen to be spending quite well. Plus I can't give a 6-year-old boy some high-level jutsus, Sandaime Hokage lectured the blonde demon vessel. Please old man, I need wind justices because I found out that I have a high affinity to them. Besides, this will be the last time I ask anything from you. I promise, and I don't break my promises because that's my shinobi way, Naruto begged the old man before declaring his nindo. Okay Naruto, I am trusting you on your word. Let me go to my closet and get the jutsus you need, Sandaime said to the excited child, who was literally bouncing with joy for being able to get these jutsus. 5 minutes later, Sandaime came out with a huge scroll that seemed to ooze of jutsus. Now Naruto, I trusting you to keep this safe, okay? The old Hokage told Naruto. Don't worry old man, I will keep it safe and master every jutsus there are on that list, Naruto proclaimed excitedly to the strongest leaf shinobi, who in return was smiling at the boy's enthusiasm. Flashback end. Man, was that hard to get the old man to agree to that. But now I can start learning this stuff for myself, Naruto stated to himself excitedly, while in a clearing he dubbed his own personal training area because no one came here. So Naruto's training became more intense. He was still on 1% chakra because he found it very difficult to adjust. His taijutsu style seemed to compromise of a bit of karate, kung fu and muay thai. He had gotten these styles from Kai's store as well as a staff form and a training staff, which he happened to have. He remembered Kai telling him it was odd for a shinobi to have a staff, as it was too long and not practical. To this Naruto exclaimed, I'm not a normal shinobi. But like many good shinobis, Naruto started create his own jutsus and taijutsu moves. It has been a month since Naruto's self-appointed hardcore training had started. A few people had noticed the change in Naruto. One, namely a scarred Chunin by the name of Iruka, who used to blame Naruto for the death of his parents. However, over the past month Naruto had shown signs of intelligence and strength. He no longer craved attention, but merely stayed silent unless he asked a question. He remembered what had happened yesterday. Flashback. Yesterday. Okay class, today we are going to learn some Konoha history, Iruka announced to the class, and getting a collective moan from all the kids except Naruto, who oddly seemed to look, dare I say it, excited. Okay class 1, going to talk about the Hokages. When Iruka had said this, he seemed to have the whole class's attention. I mean, who wouldn't want to know about the greatest shinobis this village produced? Okay Naruto, let's see if you have turned over a new leaf, Iruka thought to himself. Okay class, can anyone tell me a fact about the Shoden Hokage? Anyone? Iruka asked the class, moving his head around until he settled on Naruto. Naruto, how about you? Can you tell me a fact or two? Iruka asked the 6-year-old blonde boy. Naruto was literally sweating bullets at the stares his classmates were giving, almost cheering him on to fail. No, Naruto thought to himself, I am no longer going to be a dropout, I am going to show my true potential. Naruto took a big gulp and shakily answered, well, the Shoden Hokage was known for his wood element jutsus and great strength. Naruto replied back fearfully. When Naruto finished his answer, half the class broke out into laughter, thinking the boy just made it up. Naruto, who thought he got the answer right, looked down in shame. Damn, did I read it wrong? I could have sworn he said he did wood element jutsus, Naruto thought to himself. Enough! Iruka shouted to the class, which was very odd. When Naruto usually got an answer wrong, he would join in the laughter. I don't know why you are all laughing. Naruto got the answer bang on right. Iruka finished with a smile. All the of class seemed to have a shocked expression on their face at the classroom dunce getting an answer right. Naruto seemed to perk up at Iruka's compliment. Okay Naruto, can you give me a second fact about the Shoden Hokage? Iruka questioned with a genuine smile on his face. At the praise given by the teacher, Naruto answered out enthusiastically. Well, the Shoden Hokage and his brother the Naidame Hokage were said to be the founding members of Konoha. Naruto finished with a big smile on his face. Well done Naruto, you got both of your answers right, Iruka acknowledged while reaching into his drawer and taking out a small packet and chucking it towards Naruto, who fumbled at the sudden package being thrown at him. Those Naruto are some of the finest chocolates in Konoha. Well done answering that question, Iruka replied with a kind smile. With that, Iruka continued his lesson, asking if anyone knew the answer to his question. To everyone's astonishment, Naruto answered all the questions. After the class was over, everyone's opinion on Naruto changed drastically. 3 people the most, 2 being Haruno Sakura and Yamanaka Ino, and most notably Iruka. Iruka asked Naruto to stay behind, and Naruto, not wanting ruin his happy mood, stayed behind. Naruto, well done on answering those questions, you're really coming along, Iruka complimented the blonde demon vessel. Say Naruto, how about I treat you to ramen for dinner? Iruka said with a warm smile on his while scratching his scar. The only answer he got was a big yes and a thank you. Flashback end. After those turn of events, Naruto easily became Iruka's star pupil. While suddenly Ino and Sakura had started talking to him and even becoming his friends, he found this incredibly weird coming from 2 Sasuke fangirls. But he did not complain one bit. Once he got to know them, he actually found out they really fun to talk to and really cute. It had been almost 2 years since Naruto's ambition of Hokage began. Naruto's training was still going on full force, while developing new jutsus and learning quite a few from the scroll. His arsenal of jutsus was slowly increasing. It would be a long time before he would actually be able to master any of them, but hey, it's better than nothing. His training with his staff dramatically increased as he noticed that he was a complete natural with staff and learned moves from the style he was doing. His taijutsu was coming along quite nicely. He started to do exercises that conditioned his arms and legs and torso. Also doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats, jogging and the whole works. All in all, Naruto was training at a steady pace and was only getting better. At the academy he was starting to get noticed by the entire teaching staff, and he was arguably the best student of his year. Naruto liked the attention. He now thought back and was glad for showing his true potential. Naruto's intelligence was starting to increase from him reading the books at home and the lessons from the academy. It was this day that Uzumaki Naruto marked as one of his best days and worst days of his entire life. It was only a couple of days away from his birthday, and Naruto was sitting in class waiting for Iruka-sensei as usual, as he liked to come early to class. I can't believe the seats next to Sasuke-kun are taken. I wanted to sit next to him, a disappointed Sakura said, sitting on the right of Naruto. Well, forehead girl, Sasuke-kun wouldn't be caught dead sitting near you, Ino replied smugly towards her ex-best friend and rival. She was sitting on Naruto's left, with Naruto stuck in the middle of another argument. Their argument would always end up like this, with Naruto always being asked a tough question. Okay Ino, pig, we will let Naruto decide it. Naruto, who is more prettier, that pig or me? Sakura asked Naruto, saying the pig statement with a bit of disgust. Yeah, Naruto, who is better looking, Ino replied back with fire in her eyes. Both female academy students were looking at Naruto with puppy dog eyes. Naruto tried to resist their cute stares. Naruto, however, was saved with Iruka walking into the class. Hey look girls, Iruka-sensei is here, Naruto replied back hastily. Ino had enough of Naruto always doing this whenever they asked these questions. Naruto answered truthfully. Now don't you dare avoid this question, Ino said in a commanding tone. Naruto also got tired of their constant bickering. I mean, what's the point of fighting over an arrogant ass like Sasuke? So Naruto replied back hastily, look, does it really matter? I mean, you're both the most prettiest girls in the village. Naruto finished looking a little peeved off and staring at Iruka-sensei's face. What Naruto didn't realize was that both girls were blushing furiously and both had small smiles on their faces. For that was the sweetest thing any boy ever said to them. They both knew Naruto was always genuine in his words because he never lied. Okay class, settle down now. Today is a special day, seeing as that we have a new student joining us from the lower grade and student from this class will be joining then upper grade class. Iruka informed the class of the arrangement. Okay class, please welcome Hyuga Hanabi. Girl walked in with white eyes and black hair and looking the class as though they were beneath her. Okay class, settle down now. I like to congratulate the person who has been promoted to go to the upper year. Uzumaki Naruto, please step up. Iruka beamed towards Naruto at being jumped up a year. Naruto got up, pulling his back over his shoulder and looking over at his two friends Ino and Sakura, who looked heartbroken at losing their only male friend. Damn, Naruto thought to himself. Just when I get friends my own age I have to leave. When he reached Iruka-sensei, he gave him much praise and 2 jutsu scrolls, saying that he deserved. At the time Naruto would have rather traded in his 2 scrolls for his 2 friends. Naruto dejectedly left the class and out the door, already missing his friends. But as soon as Naruto reached the door he started to get excited. If he was bumped up a grade, that must mean he was strong. So began Naruto's 3rd year in the academy. In a new class and new environment. Even though Naruto was disappointed in leaving his favorite teacher and people, he quickly got stuck into this class. Naruto realized that this class was a lot harder and he would have to put more effort into lessons. 3 weeks afterwards it was Naruto's 8th birthday and he started his birthday in great fashion by training his ass off. Naruto had a checklist in his house of all the jutsu he could do and mastered. Right now he was looking at that list. Ninjutsu from the scroll. Mastered Bunshin no Jutsu, Doppelganger Technique. Doden. Doryuden, Earth Release, Earth Dragon Bullet. Doden. Doryuheki, Earth Release, Earth Style Wall. Doden. Doryu Taiga, Earth Release, Earth Flow River. Futon. Daitopa, Wind Release, Great Breakthrough. Henge no Jutsu, Transformation Technique. Kaden. Karyuden, Fire Release, Fire Dragon Missile. Kaden. Karyu Enden, Fire Release, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. Kawarimi no Jutsu, Body Replacement Technique. Kei's no Yeba, Blade of Wind. Maize Gakure no Jutsu, Hiding Camouflage Technique. Nawanuke no Jutsu, Rope Escape Technique. Shunshin no Jutsu, Body Flicker Technique. Konoha Shunshin no Jutsu, Tree Leaf Body Flicker. Tsuchi Bunshin no Jutsu, Earth Doppelganger Technique. These were all the techniques Naruto had mastered from the scroll. He had spent day and night doing these techniques. The old man did not have many wind element jutsu, which kind of pissed him off, but he found out that he could do fire and earth element jutsu pretty well, but could not do any lighting or water element based jutsu. On the side next to ninjutsus there was another piece of paper stating his original jutsus. Now these jutsus were Naruto's prized technique that he had come up with. And he was really proud of them. Original jutsus. Mastered. Wind Release. Wind Dragon Technique. Wind Release, Hurricane Upper. Wind Release. Screw Upper. Wind Release, Double Cyclone. Wind Release. Spiral Wind Rising Kicks. Shining Fist. Chakra Fist. Note to self, think of better name, Charka Wave. Wind Cutting Kick. Rising Dragon Wind Uppercut. Spinning Dragon Wind Uppercut. Naruto was really happy about having so many jutsu in his arsenal. He was almost going to wet his pants. But there were many techniques Naruto failed at and needed to improve greatly at, like the Raging Storm, which Naruto thought that when he would master it, it would be his signature technique. Right now Naruto was on only 5 chakra release on his weights. He had never thought it would be so hard to maintain balance while having such heavy load upon himself. All in all, Naruto's training was coming along really quickly. He had a very good grasp of his staff. His ninjutsu were really, and his taijutsu was really good. The only thing which was Naruto's chakra control and genjutsus. The only genjutsu Naruto knew off was Kokwamyo no Jutsu, Bringer of Darkness Technique. Oh well, Naruto said out loud. I guess you can't be good in everything. That's when Naruto went to the wall and peeled off a piece of wallpaper. Underneath the wall was bunch writing, but one word stood out the most. Wood element. Naruto stood looking at the wall for a long time. For a longest time Naruto could remember he had been able to use wood element jutsus. He didn't even tell the old man he was able to do it. But what really concerned him was he a descendant of the first, so that's why he was able to do wood jutsus. Naruto didn't dwell on these thoughts because right now he had a 1-week holiday from school. All the kids would be playing or going with their families somewhere. Except one kid who didn't seem to be like the others. His name was Rock Lee. The boy couldn't use ninjutsu or genjutsu. So he said he was going to become a taijutsu master. He liked the boy for his enthusiasm but was really freaked out by his appearance. As for his friends Ino and Sakura, he rarely saw them at all. Even meeting with Iruka-sensei was a task and a half. But right now Naruto was going to try out his new technique he had been working on, the Raging Storm. So Naruto ran out to his special training area and got ready for his new jutsu experiment. He knew the basics of how to do it. Basically all he needed to do was channel huge amounts of chakra into his hands, and then release all of it into the ground with his fist so everything around the area would be totaled. What Naruto didn't know was the extent of the damage it would do. As Naruto entered his clearing and did his morning stretches, he got ready to release his deadly attack. "Okay, Raging Storm, take 1 inch," Naruto said out loud. As Naruto gathered the chakra in his hand, he did not realize the extent of how much chakra he really had. Once he gained a satisfactory amount, he slammed it into the ground, releasing all of his chakra. "It's Naruto's birthday today. What should I get him? I still haven't given him a present for advancing a year. Maybe?" Sarutobi Hokage's train of thoughts was broken when he heard a boom. The whole office trembled as the noise traveled across the room, his paperwork flying off the desk and his hat being blown away. The old Hokage quickly got up and retrieved his hat to look outside. What he saw was smoke coming from the forest. He knew immediately that was the area Naruto trained at and developed his jutsus. "Naruto, what have you done now?" muttered Sandaime Hokage as he jumped out of his office and raced towards the site of the smoke. As he approached the area, he was shocked beyond belief. There, standing in front of him, was a crater a third in size of Konoha. As he was looking at the crater and trying to see where Naruto was, he was joined by Konoha's finest Junin. "Hokage-sama, are you okay?" asked a concerned Anbu captain. It Konoha's priority to check if the Hokage was okay, and seeing that he was near an explosion which rocked the whole of Konoha. "Yes, I am." Sarutobi didn't finish his answer as he spotted Naruto a few miles from the crater and sped after him. The assembled Junin, confused by their leader's action, prompted follow him. As Sarutobi neared Naruto, he knelt down to feel his pulse. When he found it, it was steady and not erratic. The old Hokage sighed in relief and mentally berated the child for having him so worried. He gently picked up the child and started to go towards the boy's house. Half the assembled Junin grew bored seeing that the Kyuubi brat was the reason for the explosion and went off to do their business. It was unfortunate that some of Konoha's finest couldn't get past their petty prejudices. "Hokage-sama, was Naruto the cause of this crater?" asked a concerned Hitaki Kakashi. "It would seem like it, but please hold the questions off until we get him home," the Hokage said to everyone. So the Hokage and 3 Junin sped off towards his home, and the others went to the hospital to send a medic nin to Uzumaki Naruto's house. "Well, Hokage-sama, this boy is lucky that he didn't blow his arms off. I mean, he ripped all the muscles in his hands and arms and he's suffering from severe chakra exhaustion. If this were any other person, I would deem them unfit to become a shinobi. Because of the damage done to his hands, it would be lucky for him to even use them," the medic nin told the Hokage, who looked very heartbroken about the news that the boy could never become a shinobi. He had already failed the child and he was only so young. For something of this magnitude to happen to him was just plain cruel. But because of the boy's talent, he will be perfectly fine. The chakra healing him is at an exceptional rate. It really is amazing," said the medic nin in excited tone. With that, he left, telling the Hokage that the boy needed to rest for at least a week and most likely will wake up at night. The old Hokage berated himself for overreacting and not letting the medic nin finish his statement. The old Hokage looked at the 3 Junin assembled in Naruto's house that were looking around the boy's place to find a lot of training equipment. It seemed this boy was already on his way to becoming Hokage. "Wow, this boy sure does train himself. I mean, look at these books and scrolls. Hell, the boy's even got chakra weights. No wonder he was bumped up a grade," a bored-looking Genma said in astonishment with a senbon needle sticking out of his mouth. To shock Genma is something that was very unusual. He was the typical lazy shinobi, who didn't get excited about anything. "He is everything I would expect from a boy who created a crater that size," Kakashi replied back to Genma while reading his perverted novel. "He defiantly seems to carry the flames of youth," Guy shouted in his oh-so-Guy way. When he had said that, everyone around cringed. "Hokage-sama, what are these papers on Naruto-kun's wall?" asked a curious Guy towards the strongest leaf shinobi. "Ah, those are some very special papers you see, Guy. Up on the wall are the jutsus Naruto has mastered and the ones Naruto has created," Sandaime Hokage replied to the taijutsu master. Genma went up to the wall and gave a loud whistle at the amount of jutsus Naruto knew. "Wow! Hokage-sama, for 8-year-old boy, that's a pretty nice arsenal of jutsus he's got there," Kakashi complimented about the boy. Everyone seemed to stop at Guy's shivering. A concerned Hokage asked, Guy, what seems to be the problem? Hokage-sama, you have to look at this. A very shocked Guy pointed towards the wall, which showed a piece of wallpaper covering a piece of paper with writing on it. After all the four shinobi looked at the covered paper, they all grew faces of astonishment. How could Naruto be able to do wood element jutsus? These were the thoughts running through each of the leaf shinobi. Everyone, you must not speak about this to anyone. Understand, this is an S-rank secret, even bigger than Naruto being the vessel. Understand? The Hokage told all three Junin assembled. The Hokage was lucky in that he had the most trustworthy ninja assembled before him. After everyone gave a nod of understanding, Guy shouting out something about the flames of youth. After all the assembled shinobi left, Sarutobi got a great idea for present and quickly ran home to retrieve it. Ah, my head feels like I went through a stampede of angry bulls, a groaningly Naruto said as woke up and began to slowly sit. His arms feeling heavy and felt like rubber. Well, you're awake, that's good, Naruto. How do you feel? Asked a concerned Hokage. Well, old man, I have had better days. Damn, that means my technique was a complete failure, Naruto blurted out. Sarutobi, looking at Naruto's disappointed face, decided to fill him in on the information on what happened and why he was in the bed. So that's what I guess I have a long way to go before I can use that jutsu again, Naruto embarrassingly answered to the old Hokage. Yes, Naruto, you do have a long way to go before you can fully utilize that jutsu. Oh yeah, before I go, here are your two birthday presents. One's a summoning scroll, the other is very rare staff that was used by the Shodem Hokage before he came to Konoha. It's made out of the strongest wood in the world and is harder than any metal in the world. So I give you these two presents, the old Hokage said in a kind voice. Just before the Hokage left, he gave a piece of advice to Naruto. Oh yes, by the way, Naruto, in regards to your new jutsu, it's always good to start in small steps. Happy birthday, Naruto. Naruto looked around the room and saw in the corner a week's worth of free ramen given by Iruka for his birthday and two sets of vases with flowers in them from Sakura and Ino. This brought a smile up Naruto's face, knowing that his friends thought of him. Well, so much for training for a week. I guess I go on a bedridden for a week. Naruto sighed to himself at the unfairness of it all. It had been 2 years since the incident of Naruto's raging storm. The Hokage confessed to knowing Naruto's ability at being able to perform wood element jutsus. But Naruto said it was okay and knew that Sandaime Hokage is the one of the trustworthiest people in Konoha. Naruto's academic grade was at least above average, but found out that this class was much tougher than his lower year. To top it all, of the teachers were not very fond of Naruto as Iruka was. So they give the hardest assignments and made sure he was never paired up. However, Naruto did not care in the least about this blatant misconduct. He saw their unfairness as a challenge to become Hokage. Naruto's attire had changed for the better, no longer wearing his orange jumpsuit. He found a new love in the color of red, black, whereby there is a hint of red in his black clothes. He wore a reddish, black gi with a fishnet shirt underneath, foregoing any other stuff. He still wore the sandals that most Konoha shinobi wore and black fingerless gloves to protect his knuckles instead of looking for style. Naruto's training was also coming really well. When he found out that the summoning scroll was for the Monkey King Enma, who could turn into a staff, Naruto literally hugged the old man to death for getting two awesome presents. Naruto's jutsu list was ever increasing. His original list of jutsu was increasing very quickly. He took the old man's advice to break down the raging storm by making smaller moves. This could not have been better for Naruto, because taking smaller steps he came up with two more awesome jutsus. All in all, Naruto's training was taking a turn for the better. Naruto's two best friends still met up with him, but they still were Sasuke obsessed. He didn't mind that at all because they were still his most precious people and he would protect even if he had to give up his dreams. But it was a day before graduation that really changed Naruto's life. Naruto was training as usual in his secret spot, trying to come up with a technique, but was finding it difficult. I need to somehow use the Bringer of Darkness technique without any hand seal. That's the only thing that seemed. Naruto was unable to finish his chain of speech. Mizuki, some male adult shouted out. At this, Naruto perked up. He had heard that name before, but from where? Then it clicked, he was that bastard teacher who acted kind to in front of others but sneered to him when he was alone. Naruto knew from the tone of the shout that Mizuki did something wrong, so he chased after origin of the voice, seeing if he could help. Naruto found Mizuki being chased by Iruka at quite a speed. Iruka said something about him stealing some forbidden scroll, which in Naruto's book was unacceptable. Naruto charged Mizuki, kicking him off the branch he was running towards. Mizuki landed in a heap against the forest floor. He quickly got up to see who attacked him, to see the demon brat of Konoha with a huge scroll. Mizuki looked behind himself to realize that Naruto had taken the scroll. Iruka landed next to Naruto, who was surprised at seeing the young academy student so far, but was glad his star student had the scroll with him. Naruto, that scroll is the forbidden scroll of jutsus that the Hokage deemed unfit to be taught to anyone. Do not give it to him no matter what, Iruka pleaded to Naruto. It was that moment that Mizuki told the forbidden secret to Naruto, that he harbored the nine-tailed beast Kyuubi. At being told such a thing, Naruto stood frozen, not able to react to anything. His whole 11 years he had been ridiculed and hated against, and now it made sense why people hated. He was just some stupid demon. Naruto couldn't take it and ran out towards the forest with the scroll in his hand and Iruka pleading for him to come back. He kept running towards the forest, hot tears streaming down his face. He landed against a tree, his body and mind not able to keep up with what he had learned. About 3 to 4 minutes later, Iruka and Mizuki landed a couple paces behind and started talking about him. Iruka, Naruto is nothing but a stupid demon brat who should have been killed when he was baby, Mizuki mockingly told Iruka. Naruto was waiting for Iruka to agree with Mizuki but was pleasantly shocked at what he heard from his first friend. You're wrong, Mizuki. Naruto is not a demon, he is a proud Konoha shinobi like me. He will grow up to become a great shinobi. Naruto is no demon, he is the future Hokage of Konoha. Iruka finished with so much admiration in his voice, that Naruto was crying fresh tears of joy. Huh? Too bad you won't be able to see his growth because you see this as your end, Mizuki shouted while charging Iruka. Iruka, seeing that his death was near, had only one thought: Naruto become a great ninja and make me proud. But he was saved by figure dressed in very dark red. Don't you dare touch Iruka-sensei or I will send you to hell, Naruto said in a cold voice. I like to see you try, demon brat, Mizuki shouted back. Naruto did not say anything, instead knew this was the time to try his newest attack. Kanashibari no Jutsu, temporary paralysis technique, Naruto spoke and Mizuki stopped in his tracks. With Mizuki stopped his tracks, Naruto performed a Shunshin no Jutsu, body flicker technique, and appeared right in front of Mizuki holding his shirt, looking at him with cold eyes, and then said to him, "It's time for you to witness the raging demon." With that, Naruto performed Kokwangyo no Jutsu, bringer of darkness technique. Everything went black in the area. Iruka, then he noticed 30 flashes of light coming from one direction, and then the darkness subsided and Mizuki still stood frozen with Naruto's back turned towards him. But what happened next shocked Iruka. Mizuki had blood spurted out from every direction of his body and fell to the ground in a heap of his own blood. Naruto whispered out the name out his jutsu to be Uzumaki Clan Jutsu, Raging Demon. After the events of the day, Naruto found out that he was just a vessel and not a demon, which made happier. Plus he found out that Iruka-sensei and the old man accepted him no matter what. Naruto found himself waiting for his new team to be announced, already passing the test to become a genin. But to his disappointment, he did not become Rookie of the Year. Instead, he had settled for being above average, which made him happy nonetheless. However, he did not like the Rookie of the Year. It was given to that arrogant Hyuga Neji who just preached about destiny and told everyone he was better than everyone else. It kind pissed him off. But he hoped he got paired with the flirty Tenten who liked to tease him to no end, either pinching him or groping him. Naruto wasn't a pervert, but he could appreciate the opposite sex and how good looking they were. Tenten was no exception. When Naruto came to the class, he was an outsider because he was a year younger than everyone else. But Tenten made him feel welcome. At first she would just shortly chat to him, but her actions got braver and braver each day, and by the end of the month she was a world-class flirt in Naruto's book. It wasn't just because she was so good looking that Naruto liked her, it was also because she was a very strong female shinobi and her dream was very admirable. Plus she never laughed at his dreams but merely smiled her oh-so-sweet smile. Currently right now Tenten was sitting next to very closely. One of her hands was spinning a kunai while the other was lying on Naruto's leg. Her hands were so soft and they were rubbing Naruto's hand ever so creeping to his crotch. TT Tenten-chan WW, what are why you doing? Naruto asked in a flustered tone, looking at the weapon. Mistress. What's wrong, Naru-chan? Tenten asked with fake concern, knowing exactly what she was doing. She slowly brought her hand up to his crotch and gave it a light squeeze. Ah! Naruto moaned out when Tenten squeezed his crotch. Everyone looked at Naruto why he let out such a weird moan. At this, Tenten giggled at Naruto's behavior, loving to tease the cute blonde. Okay class, settle down now, it's time to announce the teams. At this, all the newly formed genin stopped what they were doing so the teacher could announce the teams. Naruto tuned out most of the teams until the teacher moved to Team 5. Okay, Team 5 consists of Rock Lee, Tenten and Hyuga Neji. Your Junin instructor is Maeda Guy, announced their teacher. Tenten had a disappointed look on her face, but it quickly turned into a mischievous grin, and as she was getting up to leave she mustered the most seductive voice she could possibly use and whispered into Naruto's ear. Naru-chan, I hope you will think about me when you touch yourself tonight. With that she gave a little lick to Naruto's ear and ran down to her teammates and knew sensei with a big grin on his face. The only thing Naruto was thinking was, I will now. His face beat red from Tenten teasing. Okay class, now I will announce the people of Team 6, which consist of Yuhi Mai, Kagura Raiden and Uzumaki Naruto. Your Junin instructor is Shiranui Genma. The teacher announced, interrupting Naruto's thoughts. He could see a Junin with a senbon needle ticking out of his mouth and his forehead protector wrapped around his head like a bandana. Seeing as the Junin instructor was looking at waving for them to come with them, Naruto joined his two new teammates and sensei and followed them outside to what seemed like the roof of the academy. When they reached their destination, they all sat down and waited for their sensei. Well, I am Junin sensei, if you don't already know, Genma told them in a bored tone. Okay, why don't you tell me your likes, dislikes, dreams for the future, all that crap? Genma asked them. The young girl by the name of Mai put her hand up and said, Sensei, why don't you go first to show how it's done? Well, my name is Shiranui Genma, Genma said in a deadpan voice. Everyone one around sweat dropped at Genma's basic answer. Okay, Red Eyes, you first. Genma pointed towards Yuhi Mai, who looked excited to talk about herself. My name is Yuhi Mai. I like many things like karaoke and ramen. I have a few dislikes, which are the color orange, and people discriminating others without getting to know them. My dream for the future is to become genjutsu specialist just like my sister and to prove to everyone that genjutsu is as important as nin and taijutsu. Mai called out brightly, very proud of her speech. From what Naruto could see, she was quite cool except for not liking orange. Yuhi Mai was dressed what seemed to be Rapping's black shirt underneath. Basically what Kurenai wears instead of red color, it is black, and the reason I am doing this cause I am lazy. Unless anyone can come with a different attire which sounds good, then I am all ears. Also Mai had black hair and red spiral eyes, which looked kind of funky to Naruto. Genma was satisfied at her answer. She seemed like a level-headed shinobi and wasn't like most girls her age, who were too busy chasing the rookies of the year, if they were male. Okay, your next, white hair. Genma motioned towards Raiden, who had this huge smirk on his face. Okay, my name is Kagura Raiden. My likes consist of telling jokes and listening to jokes. My favorite jokes are knock-knock jokes. My dislikes are people who can't appreciate a good knock-knock joke, and my dreams for the future is write the ultimate joke book. Raiden finished with huge giggle and looking quite insane. He had white spiky hair and sky-blue eyes. His facial features were normal. It was his attire that was weird. He had a hakama that was dark blue in color. Genma was thinking, man, does this guy want to become a shinobi or a comedian? He then pointed towards Naruto, indicating him to do the same. Naruto's intro is same as in the manga and anime. After satisfied at their answer, he told them to meet up tomorrow 9 p.m. sharp, as they were going to do a survival exercise to see if they were worthy as shinobi, to which he left in a cloud of smoke. This left the three genin by themselves. Mai stopped Naruto, who was going to go home, go over some tactics for tomorrow. Hey guys, why don't we go and have some ramen together so we can get to know each other better? Mai asked them. Naruto, who would never turn down ramen and a chance to make friends, promptly accepted with big yes. Raiden didn't mind whatsoever, but did say he would go only if Naruto accepted on one condition, which would be to hear a knock-knock joke. Naruto accepted, trying to see if he was any good at telling jokes. Okay Naruto, here I go. Raiden said excitedly, not missing an opportunity of telling his favorite jokes. Knock knock. Who's there? Doris. Doris who? Doris locked. That's why I had to knock. With that, Raiden promptly fell to the ground laughing like a hyena, thinking that this was the best joke in the world. However, Naruto and Mai thought that was the worst joke in the world. So on their little ramen excursion, they got to know each other a little better and quickly becoming fast friends. Genma, who was looking at the three shinobi, was smiling, thinking that their teamwork would be excellent, knowing that they were already becoming good friends. With that, Genma ran towards the Hokage tower, already giving his verdict if he would pass the team. A grin crossed his face, knowing that he got quite an easy team. None of them were dropouts and none of them were antisocial, which boded well to Senbon Shinobi. When Naruto went home, he couldn't fight the grin that formed on his face. Even though he was separated from 3 of his other friends, he had gained 2 really great friends who would become his comrades. Naruto, who was walking back home, looked towards the Hokage monument, brought his hand up to make a fist, and declared to the night sky, I am going to protect my teammates no matter what. No one's going to hurt my precious people. With his new promise and lifestyle, Naruto ran home to have some dinner. Mai, you're home. How did you find your new teammates and sensei? Kurenai asked her younger sister. Mai proceeded to tell her sister about her new teammates and how great they were. Get this, big sister, Naruto-san likes ramen as well. Lucky, isn't it? A happy Mai exclaimed to her sister. Plus, big sister, they are both really strong. I can tell it's going to be fun to spar against them. Mai complimented her new friends. Kurenai could only smile at her little sister enthusiasm. Yo dad, I am home, shouted back an enthusiastic Raiden. Raiden, tell me who your teammates are and your Junin sensei, Kagura Raitaro asked in a gruff voice. Not really caring for his son's introductions. Raitaro had been like that since day one and wouldn't change. Raitaro was a tall and muscular man, which earned him a few fangirls back in the day. But now he had a box goatee with completely shaven head. Apparently Raitaro was running for best final boss imitation. The man looked like a final boss from a game that you would hate to fight. Raitaro wore the same outfit as Raiden, instead the color was dark red. Wow dad, no hellos. No, how are you? Yeesh. Hey, how about I tell you a new joke? Raiden said with a mischievous face as rubbed his hands. No matter what happened, Raiden would tell his dad a new joke every time he came home. Raiden. Raitaro shouted at his son's stupidity and most of all his joke-telling. God, sometimes his jokes were worse than a D-rank mission. Raitaro mumbled in his head, as he would rather go through that than his son's lame jokes. Whoa chill dad, do you have kunai stuck up your butt? Raiden asked a bit annoyed, but then realized he had to write that down, so he grabbed a pen and book from his pocket and decided to write his comedy down. Honey, calm down, your son just came back, sometimes you're like a raging bull, you know that. Kagura Yuri came into the dojo to scold her husband. Kagura Yuri was the epitome of mature beauty. Even though she was in her mid-30s towards her late, she still made guys turn heads and wish they could talk to her for as long as they could. But the woman simply oozed of motherly goodness. She walked in and grabbed Raiden's face and rubbed some dirt of it. Of course the lighting prodigy squirmed. Yuri simply wore a plain dress with an apron over her clothes. I am sorry, I don't know how to write women's clothes. After Raiden told them about his new teammates, his father had a thinking pose on. Uzumaki Naruto Raitaro questioned as he rubbed his chin and go into his thinking pose. Raiden immediately copied his dad, which earned him a superheated glare from his dad. Yeah dad, he's super cool and he laughed at one of my jokes, besides he's really strong, I can tell he has chakra oozing out of him. Raiden replied back in an excited voice. Raitaro nodded as he saw his son's excited face. He would have to tell him about Naruto's power. Son, you know that crater in the middle of the forest where now plants grow? Raitaro questioned his son, while giving him a piercing look which would make any normal man sweat bullets. Yeah, the one that appeared about 3 or so years ago. Raiden answered back to his father with a confused look. Raiden didn't know where his father was going with this. Ever since that day they were forbidden from going to that area. The earth doesn't allow anything to grow in that crater and some people called it cursed. But Raiden knew that because of residual chakra no flora could grow in that crater. Yes, that one. You know Uzumaki Naruto did that apparently while trying to come up with a new technique. Raitaro clarified to his son, who started shaking from the news. Raiden couldn't believe it. To do something like that it must have used a lot of chakra. That would be beyond an academy level technique. Raitaro looked at his son as he saw his hand start to shake. Are you scared of your new teammate? Raitaro asked, genuinely concerned about his son. Are you joking? No, I shaking with excitement about how powerful my new comrade is. Raiden said, almost jumping for joy, about learning how powerful Naruto really is. Inside Raitaro he knew how his son loved to test his limits and fight for the fun it. That's why he was really strong and would only get strong. Don't underestimate your other teammate as well, son. She is said to be a genius of Kenjutsu and excels greatly in Genjutsu. Raitaro already knew who his son's teammates were and sensei. He just wanted to know his son's opinion. When you pass, sweetie, you can invite your friends and sensei over for dinner, so we can all get to know them better. Yuri said to her son in a motherly tone. She had a big smile plastered on her face. Sure, that would be great, Mum. Hey, do you guys want to hear about why the chicken crossed the road? A loud ringing sound went throughout the whole of Naruto's apartment. Doris, what, aw man, that damn alarm again, it's only 6 a.m. It had taken 2 years to realize that his clock alarm only went off at 6. Like many things in his house, it was defective. Even though he still had the Hokage's card, he didn't want to spend it on stupid things. So he was waiting to become a shinobi to start spoiling himself into buying stupid things. Oh well, I guess I can go early and try and talk to my new friends if they're there, Naruto whispers to himself. After having a light breakfast to make sure he doesn't puke his guts after having a big breakfast. Leaves his apartment with the staff of Shodem strapped behind his back and his new leaf headband across his forehead. Racing towards the meeting spot, eagerly waiting for an opportunity to talk to his friends. As Naruto neared the spot he realized he was the only one there. He looked at his watch to realize it was only 6:45. Crap, Naruto thought he came too early, he thought it would have been 7:30. Naruto was lucky that Raiden and Mai seemed to arrive just 5 minutes after Naruto had come here. So they chatted for 2 hours about each other and what they thought this survival exercise was. When Genma-sensei arrived at 9 p.m. sharp, damn, this guy was by the book. Good, you guys came early, that means you're serious. I like that, Genma said in his usual bored tone. Okay, the meaning of this test is to see if you're capable of passing my test. Now the test is simple enough: the person who can steal my senbon needle passes. If none of you get a senbon, none of you pass. As Genma explained the rules to get his senbon needle, everyone looked ready to take the challenge. However, each one of you will have a disability coming into this test. Naruto, you will be blindfolded, cutting of your eyesight. Raiden, I will be giving you some earplugs and putting a genjutsu that inhibits your hearing. Lastly, Mai, I will be putting a silence jutsu on you so you can't speak. So everyone clear on that? All the assembled genin were shocked that they had to have these drawbacks on to do the test. Okay, now that you have your restraints on, you should come with me with everything you got. The time is 9:20, you have until 12:20 to pass. Begin. Genma shouted out to begin. Even though shinobi should conceal themselves, Naruto couldn't really conceal himself while being blind. When he went to hide, he tripped on a branch and fell, promptly knocking himself out. Genma was thinking, damn, maybe I should have let him got used to the blindfold. Oh well. Genma, who was standing in the middle of the field waiting for the other two to come and attack him, was not disappointed when Raiden came out declaring he would win with a huge shout. Fine then, Raiden, come at me with everything you have, Genma said in a low voice, waiting for Raiden to respond. What did you say? Raiden shouted out, unable to understand Genma. Genma just smirked at his potential student's stupidity. Oh man, I am an evil bastard, Genma thought to himself, thinking he could have fun with his students. I said your mother's a whore, Genma said with a small smile. Huh? Raiden, not able to understand his sensei, was starting to piss him off, so he went on the offensive using his family's prized lightning technique. Lightning release. Lightning wave. Genma, hearing Raiden shout his jutsu, merely sidestepped and appeared behind Raiden without him noticing. Raiden's attack formed of electricity forming in his hand and released a wave of it across the found at an alarming pace. But he saw Genma-sensei was no longer there. Genma, not allowing Raiden any more time, knocked him out with the back of his hand. It was then he was Mai jumped down and looked at him with mild irritation. Mai had the easiest restriction, she didn't need anyone to help her with. But that was the whole point, he wanted to get Mai overconfident so she could mess up. With that, Mai charged him with both of her blades drawn ready to attack. Genma merely jumped over her and proceeded to make the handicap on her more noticeable. So Mai-san, you're charging me with kenjutsu. I guess genjutsu really is the worst of techniques. Genma taunted her in a bored tone. Upon hearing her sensei say this made her mad, and she proceeded to lecture him. Genma smiled inside himself, knowing exactly what response he was getting. Sorry Mai-san, I can't hear you, why don't you speak a bit louder? Genma kept up the verbal torment. Mai, unable to keep her anger in check, blindly rushed him with rage. Genma, satisfied at the reaction of his student, knocked her out easily with a kick and ran away from the clearing to search for the last of the trio. Hopefully the said person was awake. Naruto, who was now awake and presently pissed off with himself for getting knocked out like such an idiot. Oh, so you're awake? Naruto heard his sensei speak but did not know where it was coming from. He jumped, brought the staff of the first from his back and started to tap the ground. Genma was impressed that he was trying to find him by tapping the ground to see if he was near him. After a while, Naruto stopped and said, Utsu's-me no jutsu, projection technique, so you're projecting your voice to confuse me. Nice try sensei, but I wasn't bumped up a grade for nothing, Naruto said in a confident voice, but inside he was nervous. Naruto knew he couldn't beat a Junin even without the blindfold, there had to be. Genma, who was watching Naruto from a tree, realized Naruto got the meaning of the exercise, waited for him to make the next move. Naruto needed to regroup quickly, so quickly bid his sensei a farewell. Well sensei, I love to stay and chat, but seeing as I am on the clock I have to make a plan, so bye-bye. With that, Naruto disappeared in a storm of leaves. Genma thought, body flicker, not bad, but it is a D-rank technique, but that's no ordinary body flicker. Naruto appeared before both his teammates, who seemed to getting up. He needed to tell them the real reason for their handicaps and why this test was so damn hard. Listen guys, I think I know the reason for this exercise, Naruto told his teammates, forgetting that Raiden couldn't hear. What did you say? Raiden shouted out towards Naruto, whose ears started ringing from Raiden's shouting. Naruto looked a little pissed off because of Raiden's shouting. Mai, who tapped him on the shoulder to get his attention, seemed to have a pen and paper in her, motioning that she would translate and write her opinions on the paper for Naruto. Naruto smiled at his friend's quick thinking and commented, at least someone's using her head. To which he got a cute smile from his friend. Huh? Genma, who watching Naruto explain the handicaps, smiled, thinking they had already passed, but he needed them to show him how strong they were. He decided to wait in clearing for his students to arrive and fight him. Was not disappointed when all three students arrived, circling him. It was Raiden who attacked first, using a different type of lightning technique, lightning release. Lightning bullet. Raiden seemed to release lightning balls from his hands and shoot them towards Genma, dodging them with ease when he released that Mai had placed a genjutsu on him which made him see all the kids 30 feet tall with evil grins on their face. He quickly released the genjutsu to see Naruto nowhere. Doten. Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, Earth Release, Inner Decapitation Technique. Naruto's hands were below ground, but of course if you can't see your opponent you have to feel his chakra, so these two were supposed to divert my attention from Naruto so he could do this jutsu. This was what Genma was thinking when he was pulled down into the ground. So sensei, do we pass? Naruto said with a cocky grin towards his sensei as Mai reached down to retrieve the senbon needle from his mouth. However, as she went to get it, her sensei exploded into smoke. Naruto, noticing the sound of the exploding, gritted his teeth and said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. That bastard used my favorite. Naruto was unable to finish his sentence when he heard a loud ringing sound go off indicating that the time was up. Both Mai and Naruto put their heads down while Raiden looked confused. Genma appeared before all three of them with a neutral expression on his face. He proceeded to take both jutsus of Raiden and Mai and took out the earplugs and blindfold of Naruto. Raiden had finally got why his two other teammates looked down when Genma said the alarm went off. Well, that's the end of time and none of you have my senbon needles, you know what that means. When Genma had said that, everyone, they all looked heartbroken knowing that they would have to be sent back to the academy even after their hard work. You pass, Genma finished with a smile on his face. Both Mai and Raiden looked shocked while Naruto looked really relived. So I was right, it was a test of our teamwork more than anything else. When I thought about it, it made sense why you put all those handicaps on. In a sense we all needed each other to get a senbon needle because together we make one shinobi. But you knew we would never pass with our handicaps, isn't that right, Genma-sensei? Naruto asked his sensei with a smile. Genma's smile got broader at Naruto's speech. You're right, Naruto, you got everything right. I am sure that's how you convinced your teammates. Good Team 5, you have really outshined more than anything else. Tomorrow we will start our mission. As of now I suggest you go and celebrate your victory. Bye. With that said and done, their cool sensei left them to their own devices. All the genins around did a group hug and cheered one and another for doing a job well done. In Raiden's mind he kept thinking about how cool both his teammates were and that Mai was really cute. Mai, who was jumping up and down, was thinking the exact same thing as Raiden. Even though he was a bit goofy, his hair looked really cool. Naruto was just reveling in the fact he became genin, was on his way to become Hokage and make the old man retire. Hey guys, before I forget, why don't you come over to my place to celebrate? My mom and dad should be home and they said they wanted to meet you. Raiden asked them, interrupting everyone out of their thoughts. Mai and Naruto agreed, but Naruto inside his head he was reluctant. Would Raiden's parents hate him as well as the villagers? As they were walking to Raiden's house, Raiden was going to tell them another joke. At that moment they wished Genma-sensei had taught them that jutsu which makes them deaf. Okay guys, this is not one of my normal jokes, but it is my A+ material. Okay, here goes. Raiden said with a huge grin. The teacher asks Little Kono, which body part goes to heaven first? Little Kono replies, the feet, miss. So the teacher says, why the feet? And Little Kono says, because when I go in my mummy's bedroom at night she has her legs in the air shouting, oh my god, I'm coming. When Raiden said that joke he was laughing so hard he had tears coming from his eyes. Mai, who was looking at Raiden with disgust at such a vile joke, she thought Naruto might share her opinion. Ha Raiden, that was wicked. Do you have any more Little Kono jokes? Naruto was literally laughing so hard that his sides were hurting. Sadly, Raiden said that was his only Little Kono jokes but decided to tell his lame ass knock jokes. Mom. Dad, I am home. I also brought my teammates home. We passed the test as well, Raiden said in an excited voice, when in mid-30s women came in and hugged her son with delight at him passing. When she finished hugging her son, she ushered the three shinobi to the living room and told them they would be having lunch and dinner. Mai unfortunately said she could not stay for dinner because she and her sister were going out to celebrate but would stay for lunch. Lunch was a sordid affair with Raiden's mom trying to stuff them silly and attacking like a mum would. She would often tell Naruto that he must a girlfriend because he looked too cute to pass up. Also, Raitaro congratulated all the genin for being able to see the true meaning of the test. To this, Naruto was shocked that Raiden's parents didn't hate him but actually liked him and said that I should come over more often, including Mai as well. It was when Raiden went to drop of Mai, because of Kagura Yuri telling her son that a man should always escort a lady home, that one of the most prettiest girls walked in. Her name was Chidori Kagura and was Raiden's older sister who was in Anbu. From what Raiden told him, she was 15 and really strong. Unlike her brother and father, she had long blue hair. To Naruto, she had one of the most sexist rumps in the world. The second person that had such an ass was Tenten. Right now he was sitting next to her while she was watching TV. He couldn't help but think she was pretty. He wondered if she had a boyfriend. So you're my little brother's teammate. I heard about you Uzumaki Naruto, you're supposed to be quite the genius with you being bumped up a grade. Chidori said with the sexiest smile on her face. Naruto started blushing and said yes. Chidori found it cute that the little kid found her attractive. She decided to torture the young boy by rubbing her hand over his crotch and saying that she could show him skills that you can't find in scrolls. To this Naruto got up and sputtered that her father was calling him. Dinner was a very precious event to Naruto. Naruto, who had never experienced a family dinner, found it funny with people exchanging stories, siblings squabbling with one and another. All in all, Naruto found out dinner was a lovely event. But there was one event that seemed to stick in Naruto's mind. When Naruto was eating his food, he could feel someone's feet stroking his leg. He knew it was Chidori because she was sitting opposite and was talking to her mother like she was doing nothing. Raiden and his dad were talking about shinobi tactics and what to expect on missions. Naruto could feel her feet slowly get up and reach his crotch. Naruto, who had a tinge of pink on his face, could help but enjoy the sensation. His inner pervert was singing songs of happiness. When Naruto went home, he could only think why girls seemed to tease him and like to see him flustered. Well, only the good-looking ones and ones who were really great to talk. Naruto in his mind liked both Tenten and Chidori, but which was one better and flirtier? Yes, Naruto's inner pervert was running rampant in Naruto's mind. To say the three genins were pissed would be an understatement. After doing 2.5 months of D-rank missions, they were sick of doing the most tedious work that even an idiot could do. The only highlight of the month for Naruto was his solo training and training with his team. Also, his encounter with the ever-flirty Tenten, who seemed to love makes Naruto's life a personal hell from her little actions. It was when he was having ramen when she came full-forced and flirty as hell. She literally plumped her round bottom on Naruto's lap and saying how she missed him and all that fake junk. What she was really doing was grinding her bottom on Naruto's crotch, trying to get him excited, and of course Naruto, who was a closet pervert, couldn't resist the sexy female's teasing. Naruto had also developed a couple of new jutsu and moves. He was also proud that he had finally mastered his staff perfectly and was a force to be reckoned with. However, he was only releasing 11 chakra because he still found the weights too much to handle. He also found out that both his teammates were strong when spared against them. But when he went to the office of the Hokage, all three of his teammates protested that they needed more kick-ass missions. It was there that they got their first C-rank mission, which was to investigate who was stealing crops from a local village. It was here that would define all three genins and make them real shinobi. Apparently the village was on the outskirts of Fire Country and was a farming village that supplied quite a lot of food to the whole country, so it was quite an important mission that seemed to get everyone's gears running. Wow, I never really been outside the village, but I kind of feel liberated and so excited for this mission, Naruto said with huge excitement and his eyes closed while walking. All three people smiled at Naruto's speech. They might have not looked like it, but they were very close, almost a family. It was funny, their teamwork seemed to click, with each of them able to handle anyone when they were together. Genma smiled at himself. His first priority was teamwork, then giving individual jutsus they could use. He found out Naruto had an ability to soak up ninjutsus even though he had no ability in lightning, justice and minimal ability in genjutsus. Genma found out he knew no water technique, and when he showed him how to do it he found out Naruto was doing water techniques without a water source. Naruto started crying, saying he could have learned some awesome water techniques. Genma found out Raiden was the medium of the group. He was good at everything but excelled in taijutsu. He had this freakish strength, which made sense because of his ripped muscles, and for 12-year-old to be so ripped was kind of scary. Hell, Naruto and Genma were probably toned, but Raiden could probably compete in some Mr. Universe contest. So when their teamwork exercise finished, he told Raiden to find a weapon he could use and gave him some taijutsu stances and moves. Raiden promptly took up nunchucks, mostly by Naruto and Mai's recommendation. However, his ninjutsu was lacking the most. His only element was lightning, and he had no other element to use. When he tried to teach him other elements, he simply couldn't do it. But his mastery of the lightning element was outstanding, and he had many moves to use from it. Genma knew his family were brilliant with electric-type jutsus. The female of the group was also surprisingly strong. From what Genma found out, Kurenai trained her sister well and made sure she was not some damsel in distress. She was funny one because she was the only one in the group which seemed to be normal. Hell, even he was weird. He would tell the group really bizarre stories that seemed far-fetched. Mai's taijutsu was the weakest in the group, but she made it up with her speed and mastery of the swords. It was her ability with a katana, which made her a deadly opponent. However, she did not have a large chakra capacity, so she could not do many ninjutsu. So Genma told her to focus on genjutsu and kenjutsu. However, Mai asking him a question broke him from his chain of thoughts. "General Sensei, how much further to the village?" Mai asked in a curious voice. "Well, Mai, it will take us another day just to get there, and seeing as it's the afternoon, we are going to set up camp nearby, okay?" Even though both Genin sighed in frustration, Genma noticed that Naruto seemed somewhat giddy. As they settled down in an area and Raiden fetched water in a basket, Genma seemed really curious why Naruto was so happy. Hey Naruto, why are you so happy? People usually don't like to sleep in sleeping bags in camp, especially shinobi. Genma asked Naruto, also voicing the opinions of both other genin. Well, this is like a camping trip and I never went camping before, even in the academy, so this like my first ever camping and I am spending it with my friends, so yeah, I am really happy, Naruto explained with a big grin on his face. Both of the other genins had sad look on their faces when he said that. They knew that he was an orphan and no normal orphan either. Apparently he was hated by the villagers, some bizarre reason or so. Genma was thinking something different. He's just like me, an orphan never experiencing a true childhood. The whole team was huddled around a fire having their food, which was fish that was caught by Naruto, who was really good with his staff and said he was a master of bojutsu and jojutsu. Lucky enough, Mai had brought some marshmallows and they were roasting nicely on the fire. Now that they had finished their meal, they were all swapping stories when Naruto asked his sensei if he had a girlfriend before. Actually, yes, I did have a girlfriend, her name was Yuri. God, I really liked her, Genma said with a big smile. All the genins had a bad feeling where this was going. So what happened? Naruto asked. He had a tinge of sadness in his voice. It was a S-rank mission. She and her squad were supposed to assassinate a missing nin and she, Genma said in a sad voice. She was killed then. Mai finished with her heart-wrenching and close to tears, knowing the shinobi life was hard on everyone. She eloped with the Anbu captain. Genma finished with a bored tone. It took about a minute for them to register what their sensei said. WHAAT. A huge shout from the genins echoed through area. What do you think? All stories end with the girl dying, Genma said in strange voice. To that response they all asked why did he have to tell such weird stories. The next day the team had arrived at the village to see quite normal and humble people there, who welcomed the Konoha shinobi with open arms. The team went to investigate what happened in the area to see normal bandits stealing crops, so they had to wait it out. But something wasn't right. Even though the villagers seemed to be very humble, they looked like they would be attacked any moment. Man, this village is weird. I mean, Naruto did not finish his sentence, as he seemed to bump into a person who fell over. The said person was a beautiful woman that had striking red hair and sea blue eyes. Right now she was wearing a robe that had a hood on. Sorry, I wasn't watching where I was going. I should. Naruto started to apologize to the women but was cut off by her. Well, maybe you should have been walking properly instead of daydreaming. The angry women responded towards Naruto and walked off in huff and puff. Wow, what crawled up her ass and died? Raiden said while taking out his pen and little book to write down what he said while giggling maniacally. Don't know, but something tells me she isn't normal, because she tried to pickpocket me, but I replaced it with blank scrolls and I even took her wallet, Naruto said while holding the hidden thief's wallet with a big grin. I guess no one ever told her to never pickpocket a shinobi, Genma said in with striking grin with his senbon needle in between his teeth. Heh, sorry kid, but I need to get of this backwater village, and the women reached inside her pocket to find scrolls. She had then realized that the kid she tried to pickpocketed her. With a groan she quickly ran back to see all four people looking back at her with a big grin. Okay, I guess I did a bad thing, just give me back my stuff and we can forget about this ever happening, okay? The women said to the rest of the group. Naruto and friends just looked at each other until they heard a huge scream. Naruto didn't even think twice. He threw the women's purse back at her and ran towards the scream. The rest of the team went to investigate, leaving the thief behind, whom strangely enough run to the scream as well. When Team 6 reached the field where the scream originated, they saw what seemed to be a bunch of 25 thugs holding a girl hostage. Okay, we ask nicely to give us everything you have. Now we have to this girl, pretty little head, thug number 1 said in a menacing voice. What girl? A voice said, and when the thug looked down in his hands he found that he was holding onto a log instead of a girl. Huh, damn shinobi, you shouldn't mess with us, we are the feared group, the Red Fire, thug number 2 shouted out loud. The assembled shinobi just raised their eyebrow. Now why it was C rank, they were common people with no special abilities. Team 6 declared they were to leave this village alone and never come back. Of course this did not bode well for the apparently infamous group, so they all charged them, one throwing a knife that was deflected by a Genma's senbon, which he spitted from his mouth. The genins each took on 5 thugs while Genma took on remaining 10. Naruto charged the 5 thugs he chose with his staff out. Unfortunately for the thugs, because he was good with his staff, they had no chance and were promptly knocked out effortlessly. Naruto looked around at the beaten 5 thugs and was disappointed that he knocked them out too quickly. Aw man, and here I was thinking I could use one of my awesome new jutsus, Naruto thought dejectedly. The same situation was with the rest of Team 6 as Raiden used his freakish strength to knock his 5 thugs out. Mai used a genjutsu on her 5 thugs to puke their guts out, at seeing their personal hell and collapsed due to the mental strain, and Genma, well, he just threw Senbon needles in their neck to knock them out, thus ending their reign of terror. Well, that was an anticlimax and a half, Raiden said in a disappointed tone. Well, this is a C-rank mission, what do you expect, some high-class shinobis? Mai replied back with teasing smile. At this, Raiden pouted like a little kid. He's kind of cute, he does that, Mai thought to herself with a tinge of pink on her face. She quickly reprimanded herself for thinking such thoughts about the clown known as Raiden. The hooded woman looked awed by the shinobi's display and thought, yes, these guys can help. They're strong enough to do it, and then I will be free, plus they're Konoha shinobis, the village I wanted to go. The villagers seemed to erupt in cheers and thanked their new heroes and heroine. Genma tied the thugs up and sent a messenger bird to Konoha to send Anbu, so they could send the thugs to maximum security prison mine where they would spend their whole natural life mining ore. Seeing as they did a job well done, they headed home to get some R&R for a job well done. They started to leave the village gates when Naruto asked a question. Hey Genma-sensei, why were the villagers so happy that we defeated such weak bastards? Naruto asked in his idiot voice. Well Naruto, those people there are farmers, not fighters. I wouldn't be surprised if they never lifted a weapon before, Genma explained to Naruto in a bored tone. Heey. They all heard a voice shout and turned around to find the hooded thief running towards them. She stopped right in front of them and knelt down to catch her breath. I am really sorry I pickpocketed you, but I could really use your help. You see, I wish to seek asylum in Konoha village, and seeing as you guys are really strong, I can get there safely. The hooded woman decided to tell the four shinobis her plight. Okay, I see where you're coming from, but we are shinobi and this will cost you. Usually we do a background check, but seeing as you probably don't want to be attacked and raped by bandits, we will take you to Konoha, however it will cost you, Genma said to the women in indifferent tone. The hooded women looked at the Junin level shinobi and sighed in defeat and took out a necklace with a weird-looking stone attached. She explained it was a family heirloom and that it could buy you 3 mountains, seeing as it was a precious stone. Seeing that stone confirmed Genma's suspicions about the women. He knew she wasn't normal, and now she had a priceless family heirloom. Even though he had genins with him, he knew he shouldn't risk the life of his comrades. But something in him said that he should help her, and being a Konoha shinobi, he had a big sense of honor within in him to help the helpless. Besides, his genins would never forgive him. Not just that, Genma also noticed that even with a hooded robe on she was really hot. Hey, he is a man, and men do have perverted desires. Okay, I accept, but until otherwise this a B rank mission, seeing as we have no idea what might happen. Okay Team 6, we have bodyguard mission back to Konoha, so stay sharp, Genma said in his usual bored tone. Thank you so much for your kindness. Oh, how rude of me. My name is Sakazaki Maki, replied the red-headed thief. So she hired some Konoha brats. Well, they will be no match to the might of rain shinobis, said a person covered in black while looking down at the group of 5. All that was heard throughout the forest was Raiden's hyena-like laugh. The rest of the group were walking and listening to Raiden's jokes that seemed to make them want to kill themselves. It was while they were walking, they were stopped by 4 rain shinobi who appeared before them, each one of them surrounding them. From what Genma could see, there were 1 Junin shinobi and 3 low-level chunin. Genma now started to get worried for his comrades' sake. I think you should hand over the princess to us, and maybe we might let you go, the Rain Junin spoke out to the group. The whole of Team 6 was shocked that they were harboring the village of Rain's princess. Please don't let them take me back, I have a bloodline limit they want. My father was going to have produce as many male babies as possible from various shinobi. Please don't let them rape me, the 25-year-old red-headed princess cried out to her companions. After hearing her confessions of running away, the whole group surrounded her and promised nothing would ever happen to her. Genma motioned for his genins to fight one-on-one. Hey, you're going to fight us? What a joke. The Rain Nin laughed out loud. It was then that the 2 teams fought each other. I have heard about you. You're supposed to be Konoha's pressure point fighter Shiranui. Genma, it will be an honor to kill such powerful Junin. With that they exchanged blows and jutsu, both equaling each other out. Hey little boy, I suggest you run away and stop playing ninja, hehehe. The Rain Nin taunted Raiden, who looked like he was already bored. Not waiting for this guy to say another cliché line, he charged him with lightning energy in his hand and punched him square in the face. The Rain Nin, not expecting the kid to make the first move, and so quickly took the lightning full forced. The Rain Shinobi was not happy man and charged Raiden. Raiden, who was not used to such speed, barely dodged the man's punch but threw him over a long distance. You clearly tell this guy was no Chunin but some genin who probably failed the exam over and over again. The Rain Genin was not pleased one bit to fight such a powerful shinobi. Mai was panting so hard and Barley was keeping up, she could tell her chakra was on low and she needed to finish this. She looked towards the Rain Shinobi to see he was also tired out. Good, Mai thought. But I guess I have to use that just to. Mai finished thinking and did a series of intricate hand seals and whispered. Megan. Jubaku Satsu, demonic illusion, tree bind death. The rain shinobi never had a chance. He was surrounded by what seemed to be tree trunks that came out of nowhere and grabbed him. Mai appeared out of the tree and quickly killed him with a kunai. Mai's hands were shaking after she killed the man. Even though she knew she had to kill him, it still hurt her that she had to take the life of a shinobi. Naruto was easily overpowering the guy and he seemed to have underestimated him. The rain nin got up battered, bruised and bleeding. He looked at Naruto with so much rage it looked like his eyes would pop. You stupid kid, I going to rip your throat out. Ah! The rain shinobi ran at Naruto blindly. This was a perfect for who gathered chakra in his fist. Uzumaki clan jutsu. Chakra geyser. Naruto proceeded by punching the ground 3 times, releasing a bigger wave of chakra each time. The effect was that the nin blown away and his body was left burning. Naruto did not even spare a glance at the dead rain nin. He knew he had to do this. This was the life of a shinobi. Genma looked back at his opponent who seemed shocked and couldn't move. What did you do to me? The rain nin asked in a fearful voice. I pressed several pressure points in your body. You only have 10 seconds to live. I suggest you use this time wisely to repent on your sins. As Genma said this, the rain nin seemed to stop and collapse on the floor and die. Maki was shocked. She knew these shinobis were strong, but she defeated them with little effort. She was so glad that she was safe in their presence. Everyone seemed to dispose of their opponent without much injury. Only Mai and Raiden seemed to be a bit tired. Everyone was going to celebrate their victory when they saw 25 rain chunin appear before them, all wearing big grins. This is bad, Genma thought, looking at these chunin. Genma knew he and his team couldn't take on all these chunins. Genma-sensei, Naruto said while looking towards Genma. Genma, who was looking towards Naruto, knew what the boy was thinking and quickly told Mai and Raiden to lead all the shinobi around Naruto. Confused at both Genma and Naruto's behavior, did as they were told and had Naruto surrounded by the various rain shinobi and quickly withdrew. Naruto, who saw all the rain shinobi around him, still saw quite a few fighting Genma and Raiden, but in the end they all surrounded him. Hey shinobi of Leaf, we have one of your comrades surrounded, a rain nin shouted at Genma with an arrogant smirk. Genma was worried that Naruto might hurt himself doing this and prayed to God that he would be okay. Genma-sensei, why did we have the rain nin surround Naruto? What is he going to do? Mai asked in a fearful whisper. Just watch, was Genma's only response. You guys should not have messed with my friends. I am going to show you just who I really am, Naruto said in a whisper, and before anyone could respond, Naruto whispered something else. Uzumaki clan forbidden jutsu, raging storm. Naruto shouted out the last sentence and then slammed the ground, letting all his chakra pour into the ground. The effect was that the rain nin were completely burnt and destroyed by the immense chakra. The rest of Team 6 and Maki were looking at the blue fire chakra that seemed to erupt from the ground. When the dust and chakra cleared, there only seemed to be 2 shinobi left, one who was standing, the other was on the ground. WW who, the, hell, are, you? The rain nin asked. I am Konoha's raging storm, Naruto said to the man and wobbled over to the group who looked awed by Naruto's technique. Naruto proceeded to throw up all his guts and collapse. Naruto. Raiden and Mai screamed, but Genma got there first and told him he collapsed due to chakra exhaustion and threw up because he killed 20 shinobi. The remaining 5 would live on to spread word of a new shinobi who came from Leaf, a shinobi of frightful power. With that, the rest of the Leaf shinobi took Naruto home and the princess. Naruto woke up to find himself in a white room that flooded his vision. His whole body felt so weak, like he had no energy left. So you're awake? You had your me and your whole team worried, a feminine voice said to his right. Naruto opened his eyes again and his blurry vision cleared to see. Makiheim, what are you doing here? Where is here, by the way? Naruto asked in a confused voice while looking at Maki. Maki started laughing at Naruto's confused sentence. Maki went on to explain that they were in Konoha Hospital and that he had been out for a week due to chakra exhaustion. When Naruto asked why she was still here, she said she was now a citizen of Konoha. Naruto noticed that Maki still had her necklace and asked, Hey Makiheim, why do you still have your necklace? Did you not exchange it? Naruto asked with genuine curiosity. He noticed that Maki's smile grew even bigger. Well, because it is my precious family heirloom, I was allowed to keep it, but I have to repay Konoha for the A-rank mission I requested. So I am going to open up a restaurant. I can sell some of my precious jewelry to start up. Naruto had a big smile on his face when he heard Maki say those words. He found out that Maki never left his side and was worried that he might not make it. Naruto looked to his left to see that there were many cards and flowers from his friends. He smiled to himself, knowing that there are people out there that cared for him. It had been a week since Naruto was let out of the hospital. He was now training as much as he could. Genma had them started of chakra control exercise, namely the tree climbing exercise. Naruto, whose chakra control was rubbish, felt a huge difference when trying jutsu. Apparently when he was developing jutsus he found out that they were very difficult to use. Now when he did them they were so easy to perform because he was pouring the right amount of chakra. But he still had difficulty doing some jutsus, which meant that he still needed to do more chakra control exercises. Currently he was training with his team and by himself. His teamwork had improved greatly, as his teammates knew exactly what his styles were and vice versa. Naruto's chakra weight capacity seemed to shoot up from low percentage to 15. His young body was now starting to grow as well, meaning he could take the weight. Even though he was nowhere as built as Raiden, he was very muscular for an 11-year-old. The date was now 10th of October and Naruto currently forgot how important today was, but it would soon be a date he would look forward to for years to come. Our hero of the story was currently training deep in the forest trying to perfect his newest technique. Genma, who was currently watching Naruto, saw him disappear. He looked around but he didn't see him, but at the last second he seemed to come landing from the sky with blinding light forming in his hand. When he landed onto the ground it seemed to create a huge crater. Damn Naruto, are you sure you have enough jutsu? I mean, how many do you have now? Genma shouted out to a Naruto who was at the epicenter of the crater. Yo Genma sensei, what brings you here? You told us that we had no team training or missions today. Naruto asked with a confused face. Hey, can't a sensei just see if his student is okay? Genma told Naruto with a small smile. To that he received a trademark Uzumaki grin. So sensei, what did you want to talk about? Naruto questioned his sensei. Well, I wanted to see if you were okay. I've been meaning to tell you that. Well, I am proud of you, Naruto, Genma said in a calm tone while looking towards the sky. Sensei, Naruto was happy that his sensei thought so highly of him. You see, Naruto, you're a lot like me in a sense. I was an orphan as well and I never knew who my family were. Not just that, but I had to become stronger on my own, so Naruto, I admire you for that. Naruto was shocked at his sensei's words but was not able to answer back. It took me a long time to realize I had to be strong on my own and that I needed to prove I was worthy. You see, when the genin teams were being decided I begged Sandame to be your sensei. I really want to see you grow and become a great shinobi. I also don't want you to be like me. I want to help you grow into a strong person. Genma finished and looked towards Naruto, who was just smiling. Naruto felt elated at his sensei's words. Everything was going right, his dream was becoming a reality slowly, and then people will know the name Uzumaki Naruto. Come on Naruto, we are going to have lunch at Raiden's place. He told me that we should all have lunch there, Genma said in his usual cool tone. Okay sensei, is Mai there as well? Naruto asked his sensei. He got a nod from his sensei. You think that there's something going on between those two? They seem awfully close lately, Naruto asked his sensei while walking towards Raiden's house. Who knows, those two, they're weird in that sense, Genma said in his bored tone. Oh, what about you and Makiheim? I see that you're at her restaurant a lot lately. What's that about? Naruto asked his sensei, trying to make him blush. Yeah, well, I am trying to have sex with her, you know, she is really hot, Genma replied back in a voice with no emotion whatsoever. Naruto, who was an innocent boy, looked weirdly at sensei's blatant answer. Damn it sensei, why do you have to give weird answers? Naruto asked in an annoyed tone. Naruto just received a typical Genma look that just screamed, you wanted to know. As they reached the house, Genma opened the door with a key. Raiden had given a key so they wouldn't have to knock and wait. Naruto walked ahead to find a dark room, which was really weird. Surprise! Naruto jumped in, surprise, with a kunai out to look at all his friends in party hats and sporting big grins. Naruto, who quickly put his kunai away, looked around the room in surprise. He was wondering what the occasion was, asked everyone what the party was for. It's for your birthday, dolt, Ino said while looking at him as if he were the stupidest person on earth. Naruto took a deep breath. They did this all for him, and he was actually having a birthday party. I really want to see you grow and become a great shinobi. I also don't want you to be like me. I want to help you grow into a strong person. Naruto remembered his sensei's words just a moment ago. He looked at Genma, who had a lazy grin. So that's what he meant, he didn't want me to grow up without feeling like a kid. Sensei, you're the greatest. He looked at his sensei, who seemed to have got the message. But how did you guys know? Naruto asked the whole group. Well, I think me and Genma-san can fill that in. Naruto. Iruka stepped out of the crowd with a big smile and a party hat. He told Naruto that his team wanted to know his birthday and willingly gave it to them. With that, Tenten stepped out from the crowd and put on a party hat on his head while giving him a kiss on the cheek. Naruto blushed at the weapon mistress kiss. He gave her look over to see she looked beautiful as ever. Can an old man join the party as well? Everyone turned to the door to see Sandaime Hokage standing there with a wrapped package. Hokage-sama. Everyone shouted out. The old Hokage seemed to just smile at the sound of his title. Naruto couldn't be more happy. All of his friends were gathered to celebrate high birthday. Usually he spent birthdays just training or having an extra bowl of ramen. The party was in full swing as everyone exchanged stories and had food, which was made by Raiden's mom and Maki. Naruto could not have been happier. However, when he sat down on the table, Tenten also sat down, but on his right. He knew that she would start feeling him up, and of course he was not disappointed. She would do the simplest of things that would just make him blush. In his head he knew he liked Tenten a lot, but would he ever pursue a romantic relationship with her? Not at the moment. He was either too young or he was focusing on training more. The next event was Naruto's favorite, which was the opening the present time. He seemed to have got lots of presents from everyone. Even if they were cheap or expensive, Naruto would cherish them for life. However, there was one present from Genma that Naruto secretly liked the best. It was a group photo of Team 6 with all of them smiling. Naruto, who looked at all his friends smiling and having a good time, just felt at ease knowing that he was truly wanted by people and that he was not alone. A year and a half had passed and Naruto was a lot stronger than before. He could have easily taken the Chunin exams, but his sensei said that there were no rushes because next exam Konoha would be hosting. So what they did was a lot of exercise and teamwork training. Team 6 was starting to get noticed by Konoha a lot. It was said that their teamwork was so great that people started saying they were going to become the best team this village ever saw. Naruto just thought that was a long shot. Thought they were still genin, but his sensei said they were all Chunin level for sure. They had also done a couple of more C rank, which were not that noticeable but were fun nonetheless. Naruto was currently training with Raiden, who seemed to improve a lot lately with his jutsus, when Mai came running towards them waving. "Hey guys, did you hear? Genma sensei told me that they are going to be rookies coming to the Chunin exams," Mai said excitedly. Genma had nominated them this year for the exams. "I bet it's just some Junins playing bets or something," Naruto said while sitting down and taking a breather. "Hey Naruto, weren't you in the same class with those guys a couple of years back? And I think Ino-chan and Sakura-san will be there," Raiden said while getting a blush on his cheeks from saying Ino's name. When they were at the party, Ino wouldn't stop flirting with Raiden. When Mai heard her name, she scoffed. It was obvious to Genma and Naruto that Mai and Raiden really liked each other. "Well, either way they don't stand a chance against us," Naruto said with a huge smirk. Mai and Raiden had a bigger smile knowing that they were really strong. The next day Team 6 were walking to the academy to take their test, also getting a good luck from Genma, who also said that they didn't need it. All three genins were psyched about this exam. They entered a building to find two groups starting at each other. They seemed to be in the middle of stairs. "Hey, what's your name?" a Hyuga said to a raven-haired shinobi. "Aren't you supposed to give your name before asking?" the raven-haired boy replied. Naruto, not letting these two stuck-up idiots stroke their ego, pushed past them to go to the stairs, not even to say hi to Tenten. "Oi, watch where you're going, Uzumaki," Neji said with venom dripping his voice. "Is that a threat, Hyuga? Because if it is, you should watch your back in the exam," Naruto said in a menacing voice. "Okay, you two cut it out. Let's go guys, good luck Naru-kun," Tenten said while hauling Neji off in the other direction. Naruto did not even spare a glance towards Team 7, he just kept walking towards the room with his team. "Yo Naruto, you okay bro? I mean, you seemed a little pissed with your encounter with his holy arrogance." Raiden started writing down his comical sentence after he asked Naruto in a concerned voice. "Naruto, really, are you okay?" Mai asked in a really concerned voice. Naruto just smiled at his friend's concern for him and just nodded. "I am okay guys, it's just that guy really pisses me off, you know. He walks around preaching about destiny and crap," Naruto replied back in pissed of tone. As Naruto was walking towards room 301, he saw a man standing there with a face mask and spiky white hair. They walked past him to look at him a bit oddly. Naruto wondered why a Junin shinobi would be standing there. "Team 6 inches," the white-haired man called back. The three genins stopped and looked at the weird Junin. "I have heard great things about you, but I wonder who is stronger, my team or you guys," Kakashi said in a bored tone. "Well, you will just have to wait and see," Naruto said while the three genins walked into the room full of genins and to try and find a seat. All three genins sat down and started talking amongst themselves about the exam and that weird Junin. While they were talking, Team 7 walked in, which consisted of Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura and Hyuga Hanabi. "I know it's tradition for the Rookie of the Year to be with the dead last, but I couldn't be another into making another OC." Then the whole of the Rookie 9 came into the room and started to make a huge fuss, which seemed to catch the attention of the whole room. However, Naruto was not looking at them. Right now he was staring at the weapon mistress Tenten. Tenten, who felt like someone was watching her, turned to see her Naru-kun staring at her. Of course Tenten was never one to pass up a chance to tease Naruto, so she just licked her lips and winked at him. Yet again Naruto's shy nature kicked in and he started to blush furiously all over his body. Luckily he was saved as his best friend elbowed him to point at the rookie 9. Apparently some white-haired boy with glasses started talking to them. Raiden filled him in that this boy had ninja info cards. He seemed to possess the knowledge or info on every genin that was taking the exam. It was then Uchiha Sasuke asked information on 3 genin. Rock Lee, Gaara of the Sand and Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto's eyes widened. Why the hell did he want to know about him, Naruto thought. And finally Uzumaki Naruto. Let's see, he has done 30D rank missions, 10C rank missions and 1A rank mission. He seems to have a vast array of knowledge on jutsus and he has a nickname. He is known as Konoha's Raging Storm. That's all the info I have on him, Kabuto said while pushing up his glasses. Everyone heard him say that Konoha's Raging Storm was taking part and started to whisper the name, the infamous genin. Naruto started to grit his teeth. He did not like that guy with glasses and he seemed to have information on him as well. However, the man with the glasses got his comeuppance when he insulted the village of sound. Wow, talk about stupidity. I mean, they just openly attacked that guy showing off their abilities so openly, Mai said with indifference. Then after the ruckus settled, the first examiner appeared and told them it would be a written test. At this Naruto started shitting his pants. He didn't know there was going to be a written part. He could have revised or prepared. As all the genin prepared to do the test, Naruto looked at the paper to see that the question were way too hard and there was no way he could do this. He could see only 3 questions he could probably do. When the test started he could hear a lot of tapping and scratching. Naruto put his headband over his eyes and pushed chakra into his ears. He could both hear Mai and Raiden doing Morse code. As he got the message, it started to make sense. This exam was a test of information gathering abilities. Ever since they had become genins, all 3 of them started to train with blind floods so they could hear more clearly. Naruto filled in the answers that were coming to him. Apparently Mai was using some sort of genjutsu to get the answer. So him and Raiden copied the answers from the Morse code. Row 5 chair 11, you fail, and so do your teammates. Get out. Naruto looked up, see a trio of genin leave dejectedly. Now all Naruto had to was wait for the 10th question. When it came, apparently it was a choice of whether or not to take it. If they took it and failed the question, they would never be allowed to become more than genin. Naruto just stood his ground and would never back down, just like his friends. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief while he was walking to the forest of death. That 10th question had him quite nervous, but thankfully he was brave enough to get through that damn bastard psychological question. Hey Naruto, you up for this survival part 1? Mean we can take any of these teams, I think? Raiden said with a cocky smirk. Hey Raiden, don't get overconfident. We don't know how powerful some of these teams are, so we got to be careful, Mai said to the both of them in a clam tone. As they received their scroll and gate number, they got ready to jump into the forest for 5 days. As the examiner said that they were ready and the gates opened, they set off into the forest in a blur, going very fast so they could cover as much ground as possible until they got necessary scroll. They needed a heaven scroll, so they hoped they would be in luck. So how do you guys want to proceed with this? Just fight any random? Raiden was cut off when a torrent of shuriken came towards them at a freighting pace. Naruto reacted on instinct and shielded his friends from the attack with his own attack. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Naruto's shuriken hit every one of the shuriken thrown towards them. The 3 genin dropped to the ground to find 3 cloud shinobi waiting for them. You should just give us your scroll because it's pointless fighting us. We are more clearly superior to you. As the cloud genin was in the middle of the speech, Mai did a number of seals to use one of her favorite techniques. Megan. Narakumi no Jutsu, Demonic Illusion, Hell Viewing Technique. The cloud nins did not have a chance as they saw their worst nightmare come true. All could be heard was the 3 cloud shinobi screaming in agony. Mai was so delighted that she mentally destroyed the shinobi that she ran to retrieve the scroll, which was a heaven scroll. Wow, we are in luck, a heaven scroll. Hey, what's wrong with you two? Mai asked her 2 teammates, who looked kind of peeved off. It just that was so anticlimactic, Raiden said in a disappointed tone. You always say that, Raiden. Mai retorted back. Well, let's just go to the tower. We could run into some trouble, so the quicker we get there the better it is for us, Naruto told his friends. As they were running towards the tower, they heard a huge shriek come from the forest. It was more like a woman's scream. Hey Naruto, Mai, do you think we should check it out? It could be a Konoha shinobi, Raiden asked with genuine curiosity. With those words they sped off in the direction of the scream. As they were running they saw the sound ninjas beating up a defenseless Sakura. Where do these Konoha bugs keep coming out from? The mummy-looking sound ninja said. It was then Team 6 noticed Hyuga Neji also perched on a branch. However, Neji said he didn't need to help when he saw an awakened Sasuke get up and start to release purple chakra. Naruto watched in awe how Sasuke demolished the sound shinobi with holes in his arms. Naruto looked towards Neji to see he was looking at him as well. They both knew what each other was thinking and that Uchiha Sasuke would be a worthy opponent. Naruto jumped down from the branch to go towards Sakura and Ino. It looked like Ino was cutting Sakura's hair to look more presentable. "Hey you two, okay, you look like you have been in this forest for like 10 days, Naruto said with a grin. Sakura said she was fine and so did Ino. Naruto looked towards where Hanabi was lying. She seemed to have been knocked out, but was now being awoken by both Shikamaru and Shugi. His teammates wanted to get out of here as soon as possible so they could maybe relax at the tower. With that, Naruto bided Ino and Sakura a farewell and went on ahead to the tower. Taking one more glance at Sasuke, Naruto ran to the tower. When Naruto arrived there, it seemed that the Chunin that came out of the scroll was Iruka. Naruto was thankful for the scarred Chunin to be there and talking to him. Team 6 were currently walking around the tower and they noticed that there was no one around at all. "Hey, do you think we are the first group here, because I don't see anyone?" Naruto asked while looking around. "Well, it took us at least a day to get here, so I don't think we are the first," Mai replied back while drifting off, seeing 3 sand shinobi walking past them. Naruto noticed the short shinobi with the gourd seemed to be radiating killer intent towards them. Of course Naruto was not fazed in the least and just walked past him, hoping not to agitate him at all. Mai, who was not paying attention to the sand trio, looked at her sister's genin team was there as well and started running towards them. Naruto and Raiden knew that Mai was on friendly terms with her sister's team. However, Raiden did notice that Mai was awfully friendly with the dog boy. Naruto, however, knew that Kiba liked Mai in a more than just a friend way. "Hey, you guys made it as well, I am so glad. Did you make it right now?" Mai asked with her tilted to one side. To that they got a huge nod from Team 8. Naruto noticed Kiba's dog shaking and asked, "Hey Kiba, is your friend okay? He seems to be shaking a lot," Naruto commented while pointing towards. He found out that Akamaru was shaking from the chakra of the sand ninja with the gourd. As Team 8 and 6 went in their separate ways to rest, Naruto can't help but think whom that sand shinobi really is. All the potential genins gathered in a room with a group of Junin and the Hokage addressing them. Naruto, who was scooping the arena, found that were quite a number of groups there. The entire Rookie 9 were there and so were Neji's team and the Sand Trio. Naruto looked at 2 other groups to see that there were Sound Trio that got their asses handed to them by Sasuke and a Cloud Shinobi team. Naruto was surprised to not see the glasses guy. If he had so much info, then he should have gotten the scrolls. It was then Naruto realized something was defiantly wrong in this exam and that something big was going down, but he didn't know what. As the Hokage explained the meaning of the exam, Naruto noticed that Uchiha was grabbing his neck and was having a heated conversation with the Hyuga on his team. It was then that the third examiner told the assembled genin about the preliminaries. Apparently there were too many genin to fight in the finals, so they had to cut the numbers in half again. It was then that the first match was announced, which would be Uchiha Sasuke versus Dosu Kinuta. Naruto looked at the Uchiha survivor and wondered how this match would proceed. All the genin and Junin senseis were now watching the match from the balconies. It seemed everyone wanted to watch this match a lot. "Now Sasuke-san, I will defeat you and take revenge for what you did to my comrade," Dosu said in a menacing voice. With that, both of the genin started their fight. But everyone could tell that Sasuke was suffering from chakra depletion. It was also a fact that he couldn't use the Sharingan. Naruto deduced that the special eyes must use a lot of chakra. Naruto was looking at Dosu as he delivered some devastating blows and used his weird gauntlet to make Sasuke throw up and act all groggy. However, Sasuke seemed to turn it around as he was looking at Lee and did what looked like a kick to push the Sound Nin up. He then began to use Shadow Dance and delivered a mighty number of combos. The move he used was Lion Combo, which was a jutsu he created in the heat of battle. It seemed Dosu had no chance as he was completely destroyed by Sasuke's attack and was carried off in a stretcher. "Winner Uchiha Sasuke," the coughing examiner said while Sasuke brought himself to the balconies to watch the next match. "Hey Kakashi, don't you think Sasuke needs to rest and get some attention?" Genma asked Kakashi why he was letting him stay. Well, I want him to look at the competition so he will be ready for the finals," Kakashi in his usual tone of laziness. Genma narrowed his eyes at the perverted Junin. "Don't you mean to steal jutsus?" Genma asked Kakashi in an angry tone. "Your words, not mine," Kakashi said, not looking away from his book. With that, Genma went towards his 3 students telling not use any jutsu, which could be copied unless they had to. Naruto, who was taking in all this new information, got angry and thought, "No way I am going to let some bastard steal techniques that took all my life to learn." "Don't worry sensei, all my original jutsu cannot be copied because they don't require hand seals, so he can't copy them," Naruto replied back with confidence. "Just be careful, not all techniques without hand seals can be protected from the Sharingan," Genma told a confident Naruto. Naruto now was thoroughly pissed off. He didn't want all his hard work to be copied so cheaply. However, he had to turn his attention to the next match that was coming up. Nara Shikamaru vs Kin Suchi. This match was fairly straightforward as the Sound Ninja was clearly in need of rethinking her strategy and her surroundings. All the matches were quite straightforward, as you knew who was going to win. Konkuro beat the Cloud Nin Kyo, who seemed to lack chakra to even fight Konkuro. Hanabi had won an easy victory of Choji as she placed few precise hits on Choji's large body, coincidentally knocking him out. Shino showed that bugs shouldn't be underestimated no matter how small, and blew off his arms, which were plugged with bugs. Unfortunately, after still cheering Sakura to win, she lost terribly to a superior Tamari who just blew an already beaten up Sakura with ease. The next match, Naruto was glad that a Konoha female ninja passed. It was his ever-teasing Tenten who showed her skill with weapons. However, it was noted that she just passed by using her last and only big attack. If she wanted to win in the finals, she would have to do some good hours of training. At this point, Naruto was starting to get annoyed that his matchup was taking so long. But the next match caught his interest as Raiden's match was next and he was facing Kiba. Just as Raiden was going down, Naruto tugged his arms and whispered into his ear, "Don't show your full strength." All he got was Raiden's goofy grin as he walked to the center. Naruto looked towards Mai as she currently near her sister. Naruto could tell Mai was worried and didn't know whom to cheer. Naruto was just worried that Raiden would do something stupid to get Mai's attention and in the processes making her angry with him. "So do you think he will use his weapons or hands?" Genma asked towards his student. Naruto, not really knowing, gave an honest shrug as to say he really didn't know. However, Naruto did notice Sasuke look at interest as his Junin sensei whispered into his ear. Naruto started to growl at the Uchiha's blatant attempt to use the Sharingan even though he was out of chakra, so he could learn a couple of jutsus. However, before the match even got started, the spiky white-haired shinobi kicked off in his usual fashion by telling a joke. He even requested the referee time to tell the joke, who was a little freaked out that a shinobi would say such a thing. Okay, here it goes," Raiden said with a schoolgirl giddiness. One day 3 guys were driving in the middle of nowhere when their car broke down. They got out and looked around at their surroundings. Finally, the first guy says, "I'm going to go look for some food." The other 2 guys say, "Why?" "So we can eat, of course," says the first guy. Once the first guy comes back, the second guy says, "I'm going to go get some water." "Why?" asked the other 2. "So we can drink it if we get thirsty, of course." Once the second guy gets back, the third guy goes and tears off the car door. "What's that for?" asked the other 2. "In case we get hot, we can roll down the window." When Raiden finished, he was rolling on the floor in hysterics, while the rest of the room just sweat dropped from the worst joke they had ever heard. Mai started to shout at Raiden for his really bad joke, telling him to be serious for once. With that, Raiden's match had started. Raiden squared off against Kiba using only taijutsu and not to use his ninjutsu so it wouldn't be copied. Kiba tried with all his might to get him even with his dog's transformation, but in the end Raiden beat him with an original technique, one he called Fist of Raijin, whereby electrical energy covers his fist and he punches his opponent, giving him an electrical shock as well as physically damaging him. Naruto could tell that Mai was torn between congratulating Raiden and rushing down to see if Kiba was all right. Mai chose the latter, rushing down to see if Kiba was okay. But Mai did not catch the hurt look that crossed Raiden's face. Raiden, not willing to see the display between both Mai and Kiba, left the arena saying he needed some fresh air. When Raiden left, however, it was a match that he would have wanted to watch as Ino and Mai fought it out. Ino showed some skill in being able to spell some of Mai's genjutsus, however she was no match for Mai's ability with kenjutsu, so the match was easily decided as Ino forfeit, not wanting to die by the blade. The next 2 matches were ones to boil Naruto's blood as the Neji mercilessly put down and beat Hinata even though Naruto was cheering her on. Neji showed why he was last year's Rookie of the Year. Hinata was lucky, however, before Neji could kill her, the Junin senseis and the examiner stopped him from delivering the fatal blow. Naruto made a vow to defeat the arrogant Hyuga in the finals. The next match was more infuriating as Lee tried his hardest to beat the powerful Sand Shinobi's defense. But to no avail, he was quickly taken down even after trying to use both his special moves. The Sand Nin Gara crushed Lee's left leg and arm, making him unable to live as a shinobi. Naruto, however, didn't have time to dwindle. His match was coming up and left for the middle just in time for Raiden to come back from his fresh air. Sasuke seemed to watch this match with vigor as Kakashi whispered into his ear. Naruto could tell he wanted to copy his moves, so he decided to not use any ninjutsu at all unless he really needed to. Naruto was facing off against a Cloud Shinobi, the last from his group. Naruto didn't seem to care what his name was but knew he was not all that strong from the way he carried himself. "Begin," the third examiner shouted. Naruto ran towards the Cloud Nin full force with his staff. Naruto was able to dodge most of the Cloud Nins, but his speed was better than his and quickly beat him to the ground. Naruto was in shock that the Cloud Nin was that good but failed to realize that his staff was in his hands. So this is where you get your power. What would you do if I cut this hunk of wood in half? The Cloud Nin tauntingly told Naruto. Naruto, however, was in shock when the Cloud took his staff and broke it in half using some sort of lightning cut jutsu. Naruto, however, was in shock. He couldn't stop the rage that was building inside him. How dare you break that staff? That staff was a precious gift I got from a good friend, Naruto spoke in a whisper. Up in the stands, Genma was worried about Naruto and what he was going to do. Naruto, don't use that technique, Genma shouted at Naruto, but it fell on deaf ears. Naruto prepared a Kanashibari no Jutsu, temporary paralysis technique, which froze the Cloud Nin in his shoes. Genma tried to stop Naruto from using this deadly technique, but it was too late as Naruto appeared right in front of the Cloud Nin and used the Bringer of Darkness technique. The whole room seemed to turn dark, and then everyone saw 15 flashes of light. When the darkness subsided, everyone looked to see a dead Cloud Nin and Naruto with blood-red eyes. Naruto noticed that there are odd numbers in the finals, which would mean that the semi-finals would be three-way match unless there was a double knockout early. Naruto looked at list more carefully and cursed his luck. He really wanted to fight that arrogant Uchiha and put him in place. The Hokage said the whole group had a whole month to prepare for this battle and Naruto couldn't wait to train to his fullest. After the announcement, Naruto walked slowly over to his broken staff and picked up both pieces. He looked around the arena to find no one was there anymore. Naruto was walking slowly out of the building when he heard a familiar voice. What's with the long face, Naruto? I didn't think you lost, Genma asked Naruto with a senbon needle sticking out of his mouth. Naruto looked down and told Genma that he was sorry for using that jutsu. Don't worry, Naruto, it's okay as long as you don't use it again. I'm okay with it. Now come on, we should start training, Genma told Naruto while walking out of the building. Naruto asked about his two other teammates. Genma told him that their guardians would train them, so that left Naruto and Genma. Naruto and Genma were walking to the hot springs, which Naruto thought was weird. As they reached the hot springs, Genma told Naruto about their new training exercise. Okay Naruto, because it's just you and me, this will be easier, and don't worry, I am not playing favorite. Gave each of them a scroll to learn by the end of the month. Genma started to explain. So Naruto proceeded to try out the new chakra exercise by walking out on the hot water. To say Naruto was pissed would be an understatement. It seemed that Genma was enjoying himself seeing Naruto squirm under hot water. It wasn't long before he got the whole exercise when Naruto slipped and saw something. Naruto was walking to a clearing to start his training with his new sensei. It was really crazy the events that happened yesterday. But now his sensei and a perverted hermit were training him. But that wasn't the only new development. When he finally got Ero Sennin to teach him, Tenten appeared and asked Naruto a favor. Apparently she wanted to train with Naruto. At first he was kind of against the idea as she was supposed to fight against his teammate. However, he accepted when he saw the look in her eyes. She really wanted to become stronger. Jiraiya made a comment that she would be a good stress relief for Naruto. Naruto merely punched the perverted hermit for saying such perverted things. So now Naruto would be training with a girl that he found to be the most attractive girl in the whole Konoha. Naruto's inner pervert was jumping up and down, being able to stay with a girl as hot as Tenten. Speak of the devil, Naruto said to himself as Tenten came running into the clearing. At 14 years of age she shouldn't have a figure like that. I mean, it was just illegal to look that good. Right now she wasn't wearing her usual attire. She was wearing what looked like gym shorts and t-shirts. Her hair was wrapped in a ponytail instead of her usual buns. As Naruto was staring at Tenten with a perverted grin on his face, a small trickle of blood could be seen coming out of his nose. So Naru-chan, like what you see, giggle? Tenten asked him, a sly smirk while striking a pose. She wore the tightest clothes she had in her wardrobe. Often people asked her why she hung out with a loser like Naruto. Well, it was a guarded secret that she really loved him ever since the day he saved her from a group of bullies. Flashback 6 years ago. Ha 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 ha, look at this stupid girl trying to play in our spot. Who the hell do you think you are? An older kid taunted her. Tenten was scared out of her wits. Her mother told her never to play in this area. But she wouldn't listen. Like always, she went into trouble headfirst. On top of that, she starts to defend this loser here with these weird red eyes. A second older kid starts shouting at her. Tenten had tears streaming down her face. She didn't want to show any weakness, but the girl next to her was already shaking from the taunts of the older kids. Tenten never liked bullies, and when she saw older boys pick on a defenseless girl, she couldn't help but let her sisterly senses kick in and defend the girl. She wasn't regretting the decision, but the method in which she came to help the girl. So boss, what do you want to do with this girl, huh? A smaller kid asked the leader of the gang. It's shame such a cute girl would be such a little bitch, but I guess we have to show her who's the boss. The boss said while cracking his knuckles and looking at Tenten with a sneer. Tenten didn't stop the tears flowing down her cheeks. She was so scared she prayed to the heavens that someone would save her. Oi you bastards, what do you think you're doing? Picking on someone younger than you and girl as well? A blonde-haired blue-eyed kid shouted out. Tenten looked at her savior and couldn't help but blush as she thought that he was really cute. The boy had appeared out of nowhere and had cheesy grin on his face. Who the hell do you think you are, shrimp? I gonna kill you for that. The leader spoke while charging the boy. The other people in the gang ran at the boy as well, intent on showing him up. When they charged him, he had seemed to disappear out of nowhere. Tenten saw a yellow flash appear right before her eyes. It was like time slowed down and the boy looked back and gave her the biggest smile ever. Tenten's heart started to speed up as her hero said a few words that made her fall for him. Don't worry, you're safe now, I'll protect you, the blonde boy said to her. The bullies seemed to have noticed that the blonde kid was no longer there and turned around. They all saw the short blue-eyed kid charge them with blistering speed. He kneed the leader, who fell over, and then elbowed him in the stomach. As he was on the ground, he spun on the ground with his legs in the air and knocked out the two other kid out. The blonde kid flipped up in the air while his leg kicked another kid in the air. As the mysterious hero landed near the girls, the remaining kids got up and ran while dragging their friends away. Wow, my training is really paying off, I am so strong, the blonde kid exclaimed while pumping his fist into the air. He turned around to face the two girls. Hey you two, are you okay? They didn't hurt you, right? Tenten's savior asked with genuine concern. Tenten just shook her head to indicate that she was okay. Hey, can I get your name? Tenten asked with a tint of pink on her cheeks. I am Uzumaki Naruto, the future Hokage of this village, pleased to, Naruto started off saying but was cut off. There he is, big brother, that's the guy who punched me. The leader of the gang was back and with older guys. Naruto knew he wasn't any match for these guys and bolted off. As Tenten saw the boy run off, she couldn't help but smile and sigh to herself. Uzumaki Naruto, my hero. Flashback, and Tenten looked at her savior to see he was still the fun-loving kid who would protect anyone. Unfortunately, he never remembered that day, but that didn't stop her from admiring the boy. She loved teasing him because he would just sputter and say such cute things. Tenten sat down next to her hero and looked at him with a smile. Naruto felt Tenten's soft brown eyes look at him. He turned his head to see her look at him with sultry gaze. Naruto, being Naruto of course, couldn't help but blush. Why, you look really pretty, Tenten, Naruto sputtered out. Tenten, being a girl of course, starting babbling about how she did her hair different and what shampoo she was using. Naruto, however, was not listening but gazing at her softly. They were both interrupted when Genma and Jiraiya appeared. Tenten, like Genma, didn't come from a shinobi family, so had to work by herself. She wanted to become a weapon specialist. It was her life dream as a shinobi to become something that not many shinobis are like and to grow up like Tsunade. When Jiraiya heard this, he thought it was rather interesting and that she might be useful in the future. The two senseis started them off on some individual training. According to Jiraiya and Genma, Tenten had some pretty strong legs and they were quite long. Her ability to do splits was quite amazing as well. It seemed she was quite flexible. Naruto put in an idea for her to learn taijutsu that uses leg forms a lot. Apparently he had a scroll with a very strong leg form. So the two senseis gave her some leg weights and some exercises to condition and strengthen her legs. Also, she would be trying to learn more jutsu with weapons involved and to try and use her weapons more often. Unfortunately, Genma had to go on a mission for the Hokage, which required his immediate attention, but because Jiraiya was here, he could oversee their training. Naruto started off by doing some summoning techniques by using his other chakra. A week had passed and the two genins were getting along quite nicely. Everyone could see the big difference that Tenten had made. She coming along quite nicely. Naruto summoned the boss Toad by accident by the end of the week. Jiraiya was shocked that Naruto was able to grasp the technique so quickly. His ability to use the fox's chakra was amazing. Jiraiya, being the pervert he is, quickly went away saying he had research to do in some other village. It was funny when Naruto already told him that he could do summoning technique already. When Naruto told him he could summon the Monkey King Enma, Jiraiya seemed alright with it. Apparently there are two types of summons, one which the animal can turn into a weapon and are summoned through a weapon. The other is on of the boss Toad size. That doesn't necessarily mean you can summon both types, only until both summons are on good terms with one another and when both bosses recognize your strength. Both bosses put Naruto through a trial that Naruto never wanted to go through again. Luckily enough they accepted Naruto, who knew summons like to play truth or dare. Luckily Genma had come back and now started to teach Naruto his own style of taijutsu, which was the pressure point fighting style. Tenten was learning some amazing ninjutsus from Genma, who showed her that she had an affinity to earth jutsus. Not just that, but Naruto taught her two of his techniques, one which was an original, the other a special kind of technique. Over the course of the month, Naruto and Tenten grew closer to each other. Naruto knew that he really liked Tenten but didn't know if she was just friendly or returned his feelings. Tenten, however, never stopped liking Naruto, and her feelings grew even more as she saw what a wonderful person he really was. Naruto hardly saw his teammates, as he was busy hanging out with Tenten. Naruto was currently looking up on his bedroom, thinking about the whole month's events. Naruto didn't know what to do about his feelings with Tenten. He hadn't been this confused ever in his entire life, and it scared him. When he thought back on his training, he knew that he shocked Ero Sennin with his ability to use the Fox's chakra. When he first did the Raging Demon, he inadvertently tapped into the special power. He promised himself that he would cut down the use of the chakra and rely on his own power. With those thoughts, Naruto went to sleep, his thoughts clouded with uncertainty. Naruto looked up to see so many people in the stands. He felt like a bug compared when he looked up to see so many of them. To his side the other combatants. Both his comrades were there as well and looked nervous as hell. It was probably the atmosphere. With so many people looking at you, of course you would have been nervous. Naruto, however, knew that he had to show confidence as his match was the first one and he would give the crowd something to watch. Naruto noticed the coughing referee wasn't there anymore, there was just this guy with goggles. Everyone who was fighting went up to the stage. Naruto, however, felt something strange from that sand kid. He couldn't quite place it, but something about him made him feel uneasy and familiar, like he knew what he drew his power from. Naruto's comrades wished him good luck as he wasn't about to fight against last year's Rookie of the Year. Naruto and Neji walked out into the middle of the arena ready to square off. Neji knew that Naruto's confidence could not be broken, however he was still confused about the fate of this match. The power he demonstrated against the Cloud Shinobi in the preliminaries had him question his fate. In the end, Neji decided that fate wanted him to win and decided that Naruto couldn't possibly win ever since he had mastered another style of taijutsu that the main family didn't know about. Naruto, however, wasn't able to fix his staff and couldn't possibly use it, so he would have to use Enma from now on until he found a worthy staff. Right now he couldn't use it against Neji because of his style of fighting. Fate dictates that the outcome of the match is in my favor, you should just give up while you're, Neji pronounced arrogantly, while Naruto just stared at him with boredom. Naruto grew bored of his speech and did a number of hand seals and shouted out. Kaden. Karyu Enden. Fire release. Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. Neji, not expecting Naruto to be so forward, just barely escaped the fires by doing a backflip and landing against the stadium wall. When the fire cleared, Neji jumped down and smirked at Naruto. You think you, Neji started off but was cut off by Naruto, who made a seal with both his hands that looked like a cross. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Around about 100 Narutos appeared out of nowhere and all circled Neji. The real Naruto was hiding somewhere in the group looking at how Neji fought. Even though Tenten gave him some tips on Hyuga fighting style, he had to find out how Neji fought and how he thought. Up in the stands, all the crowd were glued to the fight as Neji effortlessly destroyed each clone, and a certain bun-haired girl was torn between cheering Naruto and cheering Neji. Mai saw the girl's predicament but made no comment, as Naruto would be in the exact same situation between her and Tenten. The Chunin, however, were not interested in the demon brats fighting and thought he would lose badly. Two Junins were in stand watching the match with interest as they saw Naruto's power in the preliminaries. Genma, though, was confident as he watched the match from a distance, knowing what the outcome would be. Sakura and Ino were both watching the match with interest as they wanted their friend to win really badly. You think Naruto's going to win? I mean, I know he's strong, but does he stand a chance? A worried Sakura asked to Ino, who was glued to the match. I hope he does win. I mean, it would be really great if he shows up, the arrogant bastard, and what he did to Hinata was uncalled for. I mean, they are supposed to be cousins. If I was Hinata. Ino started ranting about the Hyuga prodigy, but Sakura tuned her out and turned her attention to the match. Once all the shadow clones had been dealt with, Neji found himself in an empty area. He looked around to see where Naruto was until he felt two hands grab his legs from the ground. Neji then saw Naruto charging at him from the sky to punch. Of course, Neji smirked and quickly used his ultimate defense Kaden and spun Naruto out of control and away from him while destroying the clone underneath him. Naruto landed on his feet and smirked, as he already knew the Kaden's weakness. Unfortunately, Naruto couldn't penetrate it. Only his two moves, the Burning Knuckle and his new anti-Sharingan move, could probably penetrate it. Naruto decided to test out Neji's ultimate defense by using some of his other moves. Uzumaki Clan Ninjutsu. Chakra Wave. Naruto punched the ground to release a stream of chakra at tremendous speed. Neji, seeing that he couldn't dodge, prepared to use his Kaden. The wave seemed to be no match for the Hyuga-style defense, and Naruto's other two attacks were no match either. Naruto's wind slices were no match for Neji's Kaden and would have to go with his original plan. He looked up to the sky and saw the blazing sun and looked back at the ground. Neji saw Naruto dozing off, so decided to pay him back for cutting of his speech. Luckily Naruto saw Neji coming at him and decided to put his plan in motion. Kirigakure no Jutsu. Hiding mist technique. The whole battle area was enveloped in mist and the spectators couldn't see Neji or Naruto. All the Chunin and Junin were shocked to see that Naruto knew a hidden mist technique. Genma though was wondering what Naruto was up to. He looked up to the sky to see the blazing sun heat up the mist. Genma smirked and knew what Naruto was up to and couldn't wait for the outcome. Suiten. Daibakufu no Jutsu, water release, great waterfall technique. All the mist seemed to be drawn into a spot and then made into water and shoot out towards Neji. Neji luckily saw this and dodged it with ease as water engulfed the arena and landed on the ground. When the water cleared, the spectators were hanging on the edge of their seat to see Naruto and Neji squaring off and dodging each other's kunai. The examiners were impressed to see Naruto use such strategy to use water jutsu so creatively. It was hard for a shinobi to use water-type techniques without a water source. Only those who have a natural affinity could do it. Neji wasn't Rookie of the Year for nothing and sped off to Naruto with blistering speed. Naruto thought fast and released the chakra from his weights and managed to get away safely. Even thought they were both panting. Naruto got a burst of chakra from his weights, which helped him out greatly. But Naruto's first mistake was to let Neji start talking. Naruto, feeling sorry for him, let him blab on about destiny and how crappy his life was. The demon vessel however didn't realize that Neji was getting closer and closer until he said a few words that made Naruto berate himself. "You're in my range of divination." Neji spoke and charged Naruto, closing of 64 of his chakra points. Hake Rokuju Yanshu, 8 trigrams 64 palms. Naruto slowly got up and berated himself for letting him get that close and started to back off and crawl back from Neji. Neji though smirked, thinking he had won the match, and started to spout his seal of hate, telling Naruto that he wouldn't know what it's like to have a seal you couldn't remove. Naruto however felt anger brimming. How dare that bastard say something like that? The spectators and shinobi looked at the match thinking it was over. Genma was still confused about how Naruto let Neji get so close to him. That was until he saw something that made him smirk. Tenten felt terrible with herself. She knew Naruto couldn't come back because he was a ninjutsu specialist. Hyuga Haishi, who was in the stands, was shocked beyond belief that Neji knew a main branch technique. Naruto got up and congratulated Neji for having such a great technique. "Great technique, Neji, I really commend you, but you know what your problem is. You don't look at the bigger picture," Naruto told him with a smirk. "What the hell are you talking about?" Neji asked with a sneer. "Don't you think it's a bit hot for puddle that size?" Naruto asked with a small size. Neji slowly looked down to his feet to see a big puddle, but it was too late for Neji to react as he saw Spiral Flame Fist coming right at him and uppercut him in the air. The result was that force of the uppercut and the flames made Neji useless, as he lied flat on the ground. Because Neji was unguarded, he felt the full force of the punch. Uzumaki Clan Taijutsu, Shinryuken, Vertical Dragon Punch. The Naruto that appeared from the puddle was a shadow clone and puffed out as it landed near Naruto. Naruto walked up to Neji with his hands in his pocket. "I know what it's like to have a seal that can't be removed, but do you see me go around crying and spouting how I can't change anything about it? You're a good person, Neji. You can defy destiny if you have hope and willpower." With those words, the referee pronounced Naruto the victor of the match and everyone started cheering. The Hokage was looking at Naruto with a big smile. He was defiantly growing up to be a fine young man, and from the looks of it he would take his position. Sandame looked to his right to see the cage enjoying the display that Uzumaki Naruto was showing. "Hokage-sama, where did that boy learn that technique of his?" Orochimaru asked in disguise. "Well, cage dono. The boy Uzumaki Naruto created most of his techniques, and I must say he is a genius when it comes to original jutsus. I guess he has a knack for it," Hokage said with a big smile while waiting for the next match to start. Orochimaru was just thinking that this boy would be a great problem in the future, seeing as that he had an unwavering love for this village and its people. Orochimaru hoped he could try and make him switch sides and join him. So that whole mist water thing was just a cover for Naruto to hit and get past Neji's defense. He already tested it by going underground and grabbing his legs, one of the Chunin examiners said while complimenting him. "He's defiantly not genin level, that's for sure. He's defiantly Chunin level," another examiner said while looking down at Naruto. Yes, Naruto seemed to have impressed everyone. Mai and Tenten's match was up and Mai prompted to jump into the fighting area. While Tenten walked out to the arena hoping to catch Naruto on the way, she saw her hero walking up and he started smiling. Tenten saw him blush and heard him say good luck for her match. "Naruto, thank you, and I like to give you a gift for winning that match," Tenten said while she quickly pecked Naruto's lips and quickly ran down to the arena. Naruto, who was just shocked at being kissed, just stood there with a dazed look. Mai and Tenten were both the strongest female genins in Konoha. Because no one knew Hanabi's strength, they didn't know how strong she really was. It seemed that both these girls had something to prove to one and another, to see who was the strongest. The referee announced the match and both shinobi locked in a battle of kenjutsu with both their swords flashing. Mai had opted for her twin swords while Tenten was fighting Masamune long katana almost twice the size of her. She didn't get the full size or it would have been too much. Mai found it unbelievable that someone was as good as her in kenjutsu, and so did Tenten. It could be seen that both of these girls were fearsome with the blades and cancelled each other out. Konoha Ryu Kenjutsu. Flashes of steel. Mai shouted out her attack while Tenten used her own Konoha technique style. Konoha Ryu Kenjutsu. Final flash. Both passed each other to find that they had cut each other in the leg. Mai knew she couldn't win with Kenjutsu alone, so she started to use Taijutsu, but unfortunately for her she found that Tenten was clearly more superior to her and started to use kicks at a blistering pace, and Mai found that she was being pummeled by her kicks. Hyakuretsu Kyaku, 100 straight kick. Naruto was watching from the stands and didn't know what to do, so he just stood there watching the match while shaking his fists. Mai quickly escaped her kicks and landed away softly. She looked at her opponent and smiled, knowing that she was in for the fight of her life. Tenten brought out one of her scrolls and she showed it to be one of her summoning weapon scrolls. Tobadogu, projectile weapons. Tenten summoned a large amount of shuriken and kunai and threw them at Mai with incredible speed. Mai merely deflected them with ease with her twin katanas. As Tenten was thinking of what to do, the examiners and spectators were all glued to the match as they were with the previous match. Tenten didn't want to drag this out much longer, so brought out 2 scrolls and set them to her side ready to use them. Soshoryu, twin rising dragons. Mai saw her many weapons come at her at incredible speed, so she quickly jumped back to avoid the weapons hitting her. Tenten smiled as she fell into her trap and quickly re-threw her weapons back using the strings attached to them. Mai, who merely anticipated her doing this, used one of her favorite techniques. Tenten-san, I am going to show you that you're not the only one, Naruto taught. Futon. Daitopa, wind release, great breakthrough. Tenten's weapons, however, didn't stand a chance as the wind blew away the weapons as well as Tenten away. Tenten cursed herself for being so naive. She had shown that technique in the preliminaries. Naruto was just standing there gritting his teeth. He wanted to cheer on one of his friends, but he couldn't cheer both of them on. He just hoped they would be okay and gave it their all. Naruto knew the purpose of this exam, and it wasn't to win, it was to show strength and tactical knowledge that all Chunin possess. Both female shinobi lay panting on the ground, already exhausted from the fight. Tenten quickly ran at Mai with a 3-section staff and started to fight her twin blades. Everyone around the arena was amazed that both girls were able to fight with weapons so easily. They were really strong. Tenten lay panting away from Mai. She knew she had to end this quickly before Mai started to use genjutsu. Kurenai was starting to get worried. She thought for sure that Tenten wasn't a match for her little sister. Tenten prepared for her ultimate technique with the help of Naruto's technique. Mai watched as Tenten disappeared in a billow of leaves. Mai's eyes widened. That was one of Naruto's jutsus. Konoha Shunshin no Jutsu, tree leaf body flicker. Mai looked behind herself to see Tenten come out of nowhere. Hoyokusen, Phoenix's fanning wings. Tenten proceeded to use a flurry of kicks, switching from one leg to another 3 times and smashed Mai away to the wall. Tenten started rubbing her legs as she felt that this technique did a number on her legs. She still needed to condition her legs more and get a bit of muscle on it, not in the freakish way either, the sexy toned leg style. Tenten thought that would clinch the match in her favor, but was mistaken when she Mai get up slowly, blood dripping from her mouth, and do a number of hand seals. Megan. Jigoku Koka no Jutsu, demonic illusion, descending hell technique. Tenten looked up to see a great ball of fire descending from the sky and about to hit her. She quickly shut her eyes and dispelled it by biting her lip. When Tenten opened her eyes, she saw one of her weapons pointing to her neck and a bruised Mai standing holding the weapon. Tenten wasn't dumb and knew that this was her limit, and she showed a great battle. I give up. Tenten spoke to the examiner while he proclaimed Mai the winner of the match. The whole crowd cheered as they saw one of the sickest fights ever. Kurenai, who was literally standing, fell down in her seat with a sigh. Naruto was torn between being happy and sad because both his friends put up a great fight in the end. Mai-san, that was a great battle. Thank you for not underestimating me and fighting to your fullest. So no hard feelings? Tenten asked while bringing a bruised and tired hand for a shake. Mai looked at her hand and smiled while shaking it, and they both started laughing as they were being carried off for medical attention. Sasuke had not arrived yet, so they pushed his match back to the last so Raiden would fight Hanabi. But for Hanabi, she was no match for Raiden, as his superior strength and ninjutsu were too much for her to handle. At first she was faring well, as all Raiden did was dodge, but she then found out why he wore that hakama. Raiden was a master at countering and throwing people. It was like he could pick up anyone and throw with ease. Hanabi got too close to him and was tossed around like a rag doll. Her final mistake was to try and cut off his chakra points. Hanabi didn't do her homework, as the Kagura clan could push electricity through their chakra points, giving her the jolt of the century. Raiden finished her off with one of his original attacks that he had been developing to use against Naruto in fight. Kagura clan Hajutsu. Deadly Rave. Raiden basically finished her off with a combo that was inescapable. The next match was a strange one, as the puppet guy forfeited. Naruto could tell that Shino was a little pissed off because his eye twitched. You could tell he really wanted to fight. Funnily, Naruto pushed Shikamaru to fight against Temari. He knew that the lazy git wouldn't move, so gave him a little motivation. It was weird in a sense that Shikamaru was able to come up with a strategy but forfeited. Naruto and Raiden noticed that Lee was in the spectator stands and went over to greet him, with Shikamaru tagging along. Along the way they were greeted by the monstrous bloodlust of Gaara, as he crushed two grass shinobi for getting in his way. When they reached the stands, they saw a late Sasuke use Lee's taijutsu style. Naruto saw Lee squeezing his fist so tightly that his wounds opened up and started bleeding. Damn that bastard for stealing his style. Doesn't he know how long it took him to develop it, and you master it in a month? Fuck you in the neck, Sasuke. Naruto saw Kakashi smiling and thought what an ass. He missed his other student's match to just favor the emo cunt. But Sasuke used a technique that seemed to make Naruto a bit jealous of how he was able to use it. Naruto wouldn't let jealousy take over him. No, that would make him just like that copying bastard. But Naruto would have the last laugh, as his jutsu was completely anti-Sharingan. But when Naruto saw that strange hand come out of Gaara, he knew something was wrong. His chakra felt demonic. Oh shit, he couldn't be. That's impossible, Naruto thought to himself. Genma-sensei, that guy Gaara isn't normal, he gives me the living creeps, Naruto said to Genma, who nodded in agreement. Even Kakashi agreed something was off with the mascara kid. Naruto looked to his side to see Raiden telling Shikamaru a joke he didn't want to hear. Okay, here it goes. Sandaime Hokage was sitting in his office working on some reports when he sees a bright light in front of himself. What the hell was that? Sandaime spoke. Yondaime Hokage walks in and says to him, "What's wrong, old man? You see your life flash before your eyes." Raiden was howling with laughter at his lame joke while giggling and saying about flashes. Naruto, however, grew serious and looked around. Something wasn't right. The air was thick and something felt out of place. He then felt a feather touch his face and instantly knew it was a genjutsu, and cursed himself for not learning any ways to counter high-level genjutsus. Naruto, however, didn't miss the loud explosion from Sandaime's seat and couldn't help but feel scared for the man he grew to know as a grandfather. All the Konoha Junins that were in the stadium looked around to see an influx of sound and sand shinobi arrive in the stadium. Sakura looked around, already being able to deflect the genjutsu to see Konoha shinobi fight the sound and sand shinobi. Genma jumped down to take on the sand shinobi that was the Junin sensei of the sand trio. Aoba quickly jumped off the arena and started to help the other Junin fight the sound shinobi. Genma looked at a bleeding Sasuke to tell him to go after Gaara, as he was a shinobi of the leaf. Kakashi saw Sasuke chasing after Gaara and knew that he wouldn't be able to take on the sand demon alone. Sakura, I want you to release the genjutsu from Naruto, Raiden and Shikamaru. I am giving you a rank mission, Kakashi said while doing his summoning technique to bring forth the dog named Pakun. Naruto woke up in a daze to see fighting all around him. Naruto looked at Sakura, Raiden and Shikamaru, to them looking back at him with a grim expression. Before he could even ask anything, they pulled him through a hole through the stadium that Guy had created. Naruto was running quite fast and trying to keep up with the events that had just happened. Right now Sakura, him and the little dog were running towards the area where Sasuke and Gaara were fighting. Raiden and Shikamaru stopped off to stop the oncoming sound shinobi following them. Naruto was gritting his teeth. He knew that Gaara was really strong and Sasuke couldn't possibly beat him. Naruto then saw the fight between the two shinobi and quickly pushed chakra into his feet to kick of Gaara before he could do anything to Sasuke. Sasuke saw Uzumaki Naruto come out of nowhere and help him kick of Gaara. Sakura appeared before Sasuke to see if she was all right, only to see the cursed seal over his body. Naruto noticed that Sasuke had the same strange markings as he had in the Forest of Death. Naruto quickly turned his attention to Gaara. He saw Gaara was in some sort of demon form, and his body was covered in sand. Naruto started to sweat, sensing the monstrous power that was Gaara. Naruto started to doubt that he could actually stop this guy. Naruto however was careless as Gaara quickly pushed him off and used his sand to trap Sakura against a tree. Naruto didn't know why Gaara trapped her against the sand, but he started to get more worried. Naruto looked at the eyes of the boy and saw the same eyes he used to have. Loneliness was written all over his eyes and his body screamed hate. Sasuke looked to his side and tried to get up, but the pain that afflicted him from the cursed seal made him collapse. Naruto cursed himself for being so weak and quickly ran after the demon of sand. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto shouted out loud and charged him with an army of clones to be blown away by Gaara's massive right hand. The real Naruto was pushed right up against a tree and coughed up some blood. He looked back up with blood trailing his mouth and wiped it off his hand. Naruto quickly did a flurry of hand seals and spoke. Kaden. Karyu Enden. Fire release. Fire dragon flame bullet. Naruto breathed out a huge stream of flame from his mouth and increased the heat by putting more chakra into the attack. When the flames cleared, he saw a sheet of glass in front of him and saw Gaara behind and smirk. Oh shit! Naruto cursed himself to see Gaara use his other wind attack against him, which broke the glass that was in front of Gaara and directly go after him. Doden. Doryuheki, Earth Release, Earth-style wall. Naruto on instinct called forth the wall of earth, which saved him from the glass shards that would have surely killed him. Naruto looked behind himself to see Gaara behind him smirking. Naruto couldn't defend himself when Gaara punched him straight through his earth wall and to make him land against a tree. What are you doing, Uzumaki? Naruto, your pink-haired friend won't survive much longer. My sand will crush her if you don't stop me. Why don't you show me that power you used against the Cloud Nin? Gaara shouted at Naruto, who was aching all over from the beating that Gaara was giving him. In his entire life, Naruto had never fought a person who this strong. Naruto started to doubt that he could make it out alive with this monstrous power against him. It was then Naruto looked at Sakura's lifeless body being slowly crushed by Gaara's sand. He had to save her no matter what. He couldn't let his friend die. Damn you! Naruto shouted and blindly attacked Gaara to only be hit back with his sand shurikens. But before Naruto could hit a tree again, Sasuke used his body to shield his body against the impact. Naruto looked back to see Sasuke struggling to stand up. Naruto, we may not like each other, but we don't want to see Sakura get hurt, Sasuke said while standing up. He didn't even look back at Naruto but said, I'll distract Gaara and you go save Sakura and get out of here. I don't want to see another important person die. Naruto, make sure she is safe. Sasuke finished saying, and Naruto finally understood where people got their strength from. Up until now Naruto was fighting for himself and only to prove his strength. Naruto stood up slowly and said, Thanks Sasuke, you finally made me realize why I was so weak against this guy. You go rest, you have done enough, let me handle the rest, Naruto said while forming a seal that looked like a cross. I will protect Sakura with my life, Naruto shouted out and spoke his jutsu. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, multiple shadow clone technique. About 100 Narutos appear in the forest and look smugly at the Sand Nin. All of the Naruto proceed to pummel the shit out Gaara, punching him and using various jutsus. Gaara is looking at Naruto with anger at how he is able to muster this kind of strength and finally goes overboard and releases his final form. Naruto couldn't believe how powerful Gaara was. Even after his non-stop training, it seemed like his power was only a fraction of Gaara's. Naruto looked around to see sand forming around his body and knew this would be the end. However, hearing Sakura's cry for help, Naruto couldn't let her down, not yet, not now. Kachiyose no Jutsu, summoning technique. Naruto poured all his remaining chakra into the technique to summon the toad boss, and it worked with Naruto breathing heavily upon a huge toad. Naruto saw the huge sand form of Gaara. Gamabunta had told Naruto all about which demon and what condition Gaara was in. That was until Gaara used his force sleep technique to bring out the demon. The battle that ensued was one Naruto wouldn't forget in a very long time. It seemed the boss toad was pulling out all the stops to try and take out the sand raccoon. But the power of the demon overcame the toad boss, and they both knew they had to wake up Gaara by themselves. Both Naruto and Gamabunta used a combination henge to try and grab onto the raccoon. Naruto knew that this was his only chance to stop the demon. With little chakra he had left, Naruto charged his fist and made a straight dash at Gaara that couldn't be stopped even by the demon himself. Naruto had developed this jutsu that the user gathers a vast amount of chakra in his hand, which becomes so much that it starts to burn the user's hand. But before the user's hands gets blown up to shreds, they push it with a small amount of chakra with their feet. The advantage of this attack was that the user would move at an inhuman speed. But the disadvantage was that the user could only move forward and the person had to stay in the same spot. Luckily for Naruto, Gaara was a sitting duck for him and literally knocked some sense into him. Uzumaki clan taijutsu. Burning knuckle. With the force of the punch, the stupid raccoon was put back in Gaara's and forcibly waked the Jinchuriki. Naruto was heaving and sighing. He could tell that he was at his limit, but he needed to deliver the final blow to end this fight. He could hear the boss Toad telling him good luck as he puffed back to wherever he came from. Naruto need chakra and knew one way to get it. Damn stupid fox, I hate borrowing your power, but if you don't give me your chakra we're both dead. So give me some rent, you damn lecher, Naruto roared in his head, and all he got was a deep and evil laugh as red chakra surrounded his body and blew off his headband. Damn you Uzumaki, Naruto, just die. Gaara shouted back at Naruto in anger, making all the sand around him attack Naruto. Naruto looked up and smiled. This was a perfect time to use his latest Kenjutsu. Gaara looked around to see Naruto disappear. Uzumaki clan Kenjutsu. Masogi, Naruto shouted out his technique as he appears from the sky with blinding light that hits Gaara straight in the chest, taking him out of the match. Naruto, however, didn't realize that being so high up in the air and the force of the blow would cause him so much harm. Naruto landed on the ground with his left hand bleeding and stinging with pain. But the fight was won and Naruto gave Gaara some advice and a fact why he was so strong. At Naruto's final words he saw Sasuke and he told him Sakura was fine. Naruto's contented smile was the only thing you could see as he drifted into unconsciousness. Naruto was looking at a picture of him and the old Hokage. This picture was taken when he first developed the Raging Storm and he was bedridden for a week, using his right hand to hold the picture as his left one was in a cast and in a sling. Naruto looked at the happy face of the old man. Naruto willed himself not to cry but couldn't help the tears roll down his cheeks and hit his precious memory. The old man was the first person to ever recognize his strength and now he was dead. He couldn't believe the strongest shinobi of the leaf was dead. Sarutobi Hokage was the person who made Naruto who he was. With that little help he was able to start his shinobi training. His gold card was the key to the locked gate that gave him so many opportunities. He had told himself that he would pay back the old man and make him retire so he could live out his golden years properly like he deserved. Now he wouldn't be able to see the kind smile or great tip that would make Naruto's day. Naruto looked down and put the picture away, his headband currently hanging from his neck as he wore an all-black outfit for the funeral of people who gave their lives for the battle. Naruto stood up and left his apartment and slowly walked down the streets. His two teammates who had made it out safely but had bruises from their fights quickly joined him. Naruto and Ko arrived at the memorial service to see a crowd of shinobi gather around to mourn for their leader. The greatest leader this village had ever seen. He had been with the village as Hokage for a very long time and was considered the best leader this village had ever produced. Naruto sighed from his position and looked up to the mountain to see a crack on the face of the third. Naruto looked to his right to see a crying Konohamaru weeping for his grandfather. Under all that thought exterior and verbal abuse of the third, he could tell that Konohamaru loved his grandfather a lot and would greatly miss like everyone else. The service had started and shinobis had started to give a white flower to the memorial of Sarutobi Hokage. Naruto thought back to all his happy memories and smiled at himself. As the rain cleared and the people went back home, Naruto told himself not to beat himself up with the death of the old man. Sandaime would have wanted him to be happy that he protected the village and he was shaping up to be a great man. Naruto ran up to his teammates and started to chat with them about anything in general. Team 6 had arrived at a restaurant that was open to everyone but usually shinobis ate here. The restaurant owner Makiheim came up to Team 6 and asked their orders. "So guys, what will it be, or are you guys not hungry?" Maki asked her favorite team. Well, eat the usual, Maki, but get Naruto something he can eat with one hand," Genma said while taking his senbon needle out and placing it on the table. With that, Maki went over to go and cook some of her specialty dishes. "So Naruto, any word on how to fix your left arm?" Mai said while drinking some water. Naruto's hand was completely broken and the muscles were burned out. This time it was the fox's chakra that made it worse. Because his attack uses concentrated amounts of chakra, it corroded his arm, leaving it completely useless. "Yeah, they said they could fix it, but I would have to go into surgery and they could botch the surgery, making my arm even worse than it is now," Naruto said, sighing to himself. Usually the fox would have healed it, but for some reason he wasn't healing it, maybe because his chakra still lingers there. "Don't worry Naruto, I am pretty sure that your arm will be good as new," Raiden replied back with an enthusiastic grin. Naruto, however, noticed that Raiden and Mai wouldn't look at each other and that something must have happened between them. Naruto looked at Mai, who was looking at her watch, and she screamed out loud in terror. "Oh, I am sorry guys, you will have to have my food. I completely forgot I have a date with Kiba-kun in like 2 hours and I need to get dressed. Sorry and bye." Naruto was shocked at Mai's declaration of her having a date. Naruto then looked at Raiden, who had a look of pure hurt. Genma and Naruto looked at each other and knew that Raiden was hurting really badly. "Hey Raiden buddy, I am really sorry man, Naruto started to say but was cut off by Raiden's ridiculous fake laughter. "What are you talking about? I'm fine, besides our food is here, let's dig in," Raiden said while changing the conversation. Naruto and Genma sighed at Raiden's hard act. Naruto just wished that they didn't destroy each other's friendship because of their complicated love life. It had been 3 weeks since the Sound and Sand invasion, and Konoha had just received word that Sand had surrendered because they were double-crossed by Orochimaru. Naruto detested that name. He wanted him to pay for what he did to Konoha, his home. "Yo kid, it's true, all you eat is ramen," a voice said while popping in to grate him. Naruto looked shocked that the perverted hermit was here, and with him was Tenten-chan. "What are you doing with that lecherous pervert?" Naruto asked while finishing his ramen. "Well, Naruto-kun, you see, Jiraiya-sama has told me that me and you are going on a very high-class mission to retrieve Tsunade-sama so she can heal Lee and you," Tenten said before Jiraiya could respond to Naruto's obvious disrespect. Naruto knew who Tsunade was because it was in one of his books. "Oh, even though you're ungrateful brat, I am going to teach you a really great jutsu so pack," Jiraiya started to say but didn't finish because as soon as he said that he would be teaching Naruto a jutsu, all that could be seen is a Naruto-shaped dust cloud. "I swear that boy loves jutsu more than anything else," Jiraiya sighed out loud while walking to the gate. 30 minutes later, Naruto, Tenten and Jiraiya were at the village gates ready to leave. Not known to either of the two genins, one of the real reasons for leaving was that Tsunade would become the new Hokage. Jiraiya, however, didn't know of the battle that was going on between Konoha Junins and 2 missing nins. "You don't know the real reason of why we are here and who we are," Itachi said with a smirk while looking at 4 Konoha Junins, which consisted of Guy, Asuma, Kurenai and beaten Kakashi after experiencing Tsukomi. "They might not know what you're after, but I do, Akatsuki scum," Genma said, appearing behind Itachi and Kisame. Itachi and Kisame looked behind themselves to see a Senbon needle-sucking shinobi with a lazy smile. "I know your true purpose, which is the Kyuubi inside Naruto, isn't it?" Genma asked them. Kisame was ready to kill this annoying leaf shinobi before he could say any more but was cut off by Itachi. "Kisame, we should leave. We don't want to draw any attention to ourselves. We have already created a ruckus. Besides, Naruto-kun isn't here," Itachi told Kisame, who only nodded with annoyance, and they both took off. All the Junins looked at Kakashi, who started to sink in the water. Guy said they should all go over to Kakashi's apartment so that Genma could explain how he knew what they were after. Genma agreed to tell what he knew because it was Jiraiya-sama who told him what Akatsuki were during Naruto's training. Naruto was walking with Jiraiya and Tenten looking quite down. Only moments ago 2 weird guys show up saying that they were going to take him away so that they could take away Kyuubi for their own evil purposes. However, Sasuke, who came seeking revenge for his family by killing his brother, interrupted them. Naruto knew of Uchiha massacre but never knew that Sasuke wanted revenge so badly. It made him feel sorry for the guy. It's because of Itachi that Sasuke has such messed up life. He now knew why was such a hard ass. But that still didn't stop him from still hating him for stealing other people's hard-earned work. Luckily, Jiraiya had saved them from certain peril by using one of his toad jutsus. Naruto couldn't help but wonder why Jiraiya hadn't told him earlier, but now it was more the reason to get his arm healed as quickly as possible. "So Arrow Sennin, what jutsu you going to teach me? Is it some really super cool ninja ass-kicking technique?" Naruto said with vigor while jumping up and down. Tenten giggled at Naruto's behavior. "Well, here we are the town. I need to gather information about the whereabouts of Tsunade. Oh sorry Naruto. Anyways, I need to gather the necessary equipment for the jutsu, so why don't you and Tenten hang out for the day? Bye bye." With that, Jiraiya had left both genins alone to do whatever they wanted. Naruto, however, felt really awkward ever since the kiss he had received from Tenten during his victory against Neji. Tenten smiled that Jiraiya gave her enough alone time for her and Naruto to bond. She really wanted to hang out with Naruto like back in the academy when she used to tease him. Tenten gabbed Naruto's butt and whispered, "Well Naru-kun, why don't we go have some fun?" Tenten tore off, dragging Naruto with her. Naruto couldn't remember a time when he had so much fun, but with Tenten it seemed like they enjoyed everything with each other. Even though she wouldn't stop teasing the poor boy. Naruto felt very happy. They had so much fun playing the games, having food and just enjoying each other's company. Tenten was currently snuggling a huge teddy bear that Naruto won for her in the bullseye competition. Naruto looked at the brown-haired minx and smiled at her contented face. She looks really happy and Naruto just found it nice and weird. "Tenten-chan, I don't want to be rude, but why do you hang out with me? I mean, back in the academy everyone hated me and I remember people telling you not to hang out with me. So why did you still hang out with me?" Naruto asked with genuine curiosity. Tenten was startled at the question and was thankful that the bear covered her face. "Well Naruto-kun, you're really a great guy, and back in the academy all guys thought that girls were weird and the girls all did the same thing, which was chase Neji," Tenten started to say. But you were not like the others and you never looked at me or held anything back, and for that, Naruto-kun, you were one of my precious people. Tenten finished with a full-blown blush and started run ahead. Naruto looked back at Tenten's retreating back and couldn't stop the blush spreading from his neck to his face. Naruto was walking along a path with his left hand still in the sling. It was really strange that his arm was still fractured. There was no way his arm should be this bad even if the drop was that long. The stupid fox wasn't even answering back, which made him even angrier. In Naruto's right hand he was trying to pop the water balloon, but to no avail. Naruto was getting very worried now. When he started training he completely forgot that all his jutsu needed both hands, either to help him do the jutsu or to perform a hand seals. So right now Naruto really needed that woman's help. But he didn't know much about her other than the fact she was the first's granddaughter and she was on the pervert's team. So when he asked both Ero Sennin and Tenten, they both looked shocked that a person like me wouldn't know who she was. But Jiraiya didn't get to explain who she was because Tenten dove into an explanation about her heroine, the great Tsunade. Naruto smiled when Tenten eyes lit up when she explained who the great Tsunade was. Naruto and Ko kept looking for the elusive Sannin, and Naruto progressed far with the water ball exercise by already popping it in his right hand. But it had taken him 2 weeks to actually do it, and whenever he did it, it became quite a strain on him. Naruto and Ko had been searching for the elusive Sannin for 3 weeks and with no sign of her at all, but when Jiraiya said they would eat at a place for dinner they got the shock of their lives. Jiraiya! Tsunade shouted out from her seat looking at the perverted Sennin. Jiraiya thanked God he found her because he was getting pretty tired of finding her. So the 5 shinobi sat down and something to eat or drink. Naruto was finding it pretty hard to eat with one hand again, and Tenten volunteered to be his other hand and she was spoon-feeding him like a little baby. Shizune was looking at the both of them and started to laugh at Naruto's obvious embarrassment. After they had their meal, Jiraiya told them about the situation and what Orochimaru did and offered her the position as the next Hokage. Naruto was obviously shocked at what had transpired here. He didn't know that Jiraiya's real intention was to actually bring her back to make her the Hokage. Humph, Hokage. Only a fool would be the Hokage, Tsunade said while she berated the position of the Hokage. Naruto though felt anger course his body as she started to verbally abuse the Hokages, but her next words made Naruto snap. Humph, the old man had it coming to him anyways, Tsunade said with no emotion whatsoever. Naruto snapped the glass in his hand and leapt on the table, his face so close to Tsunade's that their noses were almost touching. How dare you say that about the Hokage? Who gave you the right to say something like that? I beat you to bloody pulp even if you're a woman, Naruto whispered to her in pure malice. Tsunade, however, being such an experienced shinobi, merely shrugged off Naruto's action and told him to prove it by backing up his words. Naruto was at a handicap for having only one arm, but also her being a Hokage-level shinobi. Naruto knew he never stood a chance, but he had to show her what a Konoha shinobi is supposed to do. Tenten, however, was shocked that a person such as Tsunade would stoop so low to insult her former teacher and to pick a fight with a handicapped boy. Naruto and Tsunade faced if she said she could beat him with only one finger. Naruto, however, felt angered that she would insult him by saying how weak he was that she only needed one finger. Before I flick your pathetic lil head, tell me, why do you get so worked up when someone mentions the Hokage? Tsunade asked with curiosity towards the Kyuubi vessel. Naruto smirked, however, when she asked this. Because becoming Hokage is my dream, Naruto said with fierce determination, but when he saw Tsunade's reaction he had a chance and charged his level Rasengan. Jiraiya smiled at Naruto's words and knew he was the kid who could bring back to Konoha. Tsunade saw Naruto approaching her at the last second and kicked the ground and made Naruto quickly jump back, dispelling the Rasengan. Jiraiya, why did you teach such a pathetic shinobi a great move like that? He doesn't deserve it, he hasn't even mastered it. Tsunade finished with a grin while looking at the seething shinobi. Don't worry, I will master this move in a week's time, Naruto replied back with a cocky grin. Tsunade laughed at Naruto and bet him that he wouldn't be able to master it at all in a week, but if he loses he would have to give his money in Gama-chan to Tsunade. If he wins he would get her necklace. Of course there's no way a shinobi like you can win, I mean you practically useless with your arm, Tsunade said with a sneer, but for Naruto that was the final straw and he ran at her with rage. Unfortunately for Naruto, Tsunade flicked him with her finger and he went flying back, landing on his injured arm. Tenten saw Naruto being flung back and quickly and ran after him to make sure he was all right. Tsunade didn't even look back and started to walk away. How could you do that to someone who has a broken arm? I came on this mission help fix Naruto-kun's arm and meet my heroine, Tenten said with angry tears coming out of her eyes. But now I see who you really are, Tsunade. You disgust me, Tenten finished with malice as she picked up Naruto and dragged him to the inn, Shizune following him. Tsunade was stopped standing there, her eyes wide by the genin's statement. She couldn't help but feel like a real bitch for killing someone's image of her. Naruto woke up to see it was still dark and that he was alone in his room until he heard someone crying. Naruto slowly got up to see Tenten was crying against the balcony, her arms wrapped around herself. Tenten-chan, what's wrong? Naruto asked with concern laced in his voice. Tenten looked back at Naruto with sad face and looked down at her feet. I thought coming here would make my dreams come true to see the legendary Tsunade, but I realized that she was nothing but a phony and I wanted to grow up like her to become a. Tenten couldn't hold it in anymore and collapsed against Naruto, crying her heart out for her heroine breaking her will and her dream completely. Naruto couldn't help but feel anger when he saw Tenten cry, and it was because of that damn woman as well. Unknown to both of them, Tsunade was listening to Tenten's confession outside the door. When Tenten calmed down, Naruto noticed that she was fast asleep. Naruto laid a sleeping Tenten on his bed to hear Tsunade's apprentice come in and tell why Tsunade did what she did. I don't care why she did it, but she made Tenten-chan cry, and in my book that's unforgivable, Naruto said and started to walk out but stopped himself and looked back at Shizune. Shizune-san, could you please look at my left arm? Naruto asked Shizune, who looked a bit shocked but smiled and started to look at Naruto's arm. For a whole week Naruto trained non-stop trying to perfect the Rasengan. But to no avail, he only just properly got level 2 right and his arm would ache from the intense surge of chakra. Naruto was lucky he could do it so quickly because of being able to manipulate wind chakra so easily and knowing quite a lot of wind-based jutsus. But he couldn't even form the Rasengan properly. It took the fourth 3 years to make the jutsu, but he never asked Jiraiya how long it took him to learn the technique. Naruto, however, wasn't thinking of this but trying to keep up with Jiraiya as they tore after Tsunade's path of destruction. From the looks of it, Tsunade had rejected that bastard's offer, which made Tenten smile knowing that Tsunade wasn't all that bad. When they arrived they could see Tsunade trying to stop her, shaking from looking at a guy with glasses, blood pour from his hand. Naruto couldn't quite help but think where he saw this freak before. But Naruto couldn't dwindle on little thoughts like this as he was trying to avoid the huge snake that was attacking him. Naruto looked back to see Tenten trying to snap Tsunade from whatever trance she in. It was then he saw the glasses freak run after Tsunade. Naruto quickly leapt down and kicked the weirdo away. Naruto started to huff and poof from trying to avoid the idiot with the glasses. Naruto knew he had to reveal his trump card and threw off his sling and used his left hand to make a single shadow clone. Kabuto just smirked and charged the Kyuubi vessel. Tsunade was watching Naruto win a losing battle and she screamed for Naruto to run away. Run away. No way, I am going to prove to you I'm not a worthless shinobi and that a Hokage never runs away from protecting their precious people, Naruto said with a confident smirk and caught Kabuto's hand with his left. Naruto felt blinding pain shoot through his left hand. Even though Shizune had healed it, she wasn't as great as Tsunade. Naruto knew he must have broken it again, but he needed to hold the pain. Naruto's clone started to charge the Rasengan in his right hand and then plunged it right into Kabuto's stomach, sending him flying away. Naruto wanted to jump for joy for being able to do the jutsu with such ease. But his body spoke otherwise as he felt a blinding pain shoot through his arm and cough up a large amount of blood. Tsunade quickly rushed forward and started to heal the demon vessel, and when all hope was lost, Naruto brought his hand up to her necklace and took it, smiling, saying that he had won. Naruto wasn't able to stay awake as he drifted into darkness. Tsunade started to cry as she placed her necklace on Naruto's neck. It meant that a new Hokage was already in the making. "Aw man, it feels like I was hit by Raiden's punches and then told me one of his lame-ass jokes," Naruto said out loud as he brought his left hand to rub his eyes, but then realized. "So you're awake, I see. Your hand is completely healed. You can thank me, of course, because there isn't anything I can't heal," Tsunade said with a grin that made Naruto smile. Apparently the demonic chakra in Naruto got stuck in his arm when he used Misogi, and it couldn't heal properly because the vast amount that was stuck in. So all she did was remove it bit by bit with a special technique she developed. Shizune tried to heal it, but she only healed the bone and not the muscle properly. She also didn't know of the demonic chakra that was stuck in the arm. Naruto finally understood that too much of the fox's chakra was not good for him. Of course you can't use it as effectively straight away, you will have to build up the muscle like it was before, Tsunade finished saying while going down the restaurant to have breakfast. "Naruto, don't worry, I have already apologized for my behavior to Tenten. It was wrong of me to almost break her dream," Tsunade finished saying on the stairs. Naruto smiled knowing that Tenten would be really happy that her heroine was back. Naruto quickly packed his bags and had a quick shower while brushing his teeth. Naruto rushed downstairs to meet the beaming face of Tenten, who hugged Naruto with everything she had. The adults all had smiles on their faces and thought the same thing. "Young love, As they were having breakfast, Tenten kept going on about how great Tsunade was against Orochimaru and how powerful she was. It was during the talking that Naruto found out that Tsunade had taken the position of Godem Hokage. "What, that old hag is Hokage?" Naruto shouted out while earning a glare from Tsunade and Tenten. "What brat, you want to take this outside?" Tsunade shouted back at Naruto, who was also glaring. Like a week ago, both blondes were facing off ready to fight, but Naruto didn't even get a chance to get in a stance. Tsunade had flicked his headband off and sent him tumbling back. Because his arm was completely healed, his balance was back. Naruto, though, shut his eyes waiting for the chakra-enhanced finger to send him to his doom. But Naruto didn't feel pain. He felt a pair of lips kiss his forehead and looked up to see Tsunade with a big grin on her face. Naruto's face also split into a huge grin. Naruto and Ko, now packed, were ready to go to Konoha with Naruto and Tenten in the front, both of them happily chatting away. Tsunade smiled. She now had two new precious people and one person to carry Naki and Dan's dream. Naruto held the precious necklace and smiled. Yes, Naruto thought life was really starting to become great. Tenten looked back to see her heroine was back and her image of her wasn't false. She was just going through a rough time like all people go through, and Naruto was able to bring her back. Tenten looked at her other hero and smiled at the blonde's actions. She wished she could just muster the courage to tell him how much she loved him. But for now everything was all right for Naruto and company. "Well, this certainly is a big surprise. I didn't think you three would pass at the same time," Genma told his three students who wearing Chunin flak jackets. It seemed that the entire Team 6 had passed the Chunin exam on account of their performance against their opponents. Naruto, though, couldn't help but hold his excitement. Only 4 genins passed and the whole team seemed to graduate. Naruto's hard work had paid off and he couldn't be happier. Good news as well. It seems our resident, Raging Storm, brought back the legendary Tsunade to become our new Hokage. Genma finished saying while patting Naruto's head. Naruto was blushing from all the attention. He seemed to have made the THS shinobi populace very happy with Tsunade's return. "So Genma-sensei, what are we going to do then? Because we became Chunin, I think this village might give us a mission." "A high-class mission, possibly?" Raiden asked with a hopeful smile, hoping that they were going to do an exciting mission. "Well, since you asked, yesterday I went to Hokage-sama after your promotion and she has a mission lined up for you with another shinobi as team leader," Genma told his team, who looked excited that they were going to receive a mission. "I don't know the details, but the mission is tomorrow and you should get the heads up on the way. It's a B-rank mission, so do be careful, and your meeting place is 11 a.m. sharp, so don't be late. Also good luck. You guys are a very good team and you will only get stronger." Naruto was on the edge of his seat. He couldn't wait till he was doing the mission. Now that he was fully fit, he could fight at full strength and try to master the Rasengan in one hand. Naruto and his team headed off in different directions. Even though it was the morning, Naruto knew he had to pack, but he could do it once he got home. Training now would only make him tired in the morning, and ever since he came back he was doing a lot of intense training. He had to get the muscle in his left arm much stronger. He also upped the amount of chakra in his weights, which were now 30, that greatly increased his strength and speed. Naruto, though, hadn't talked to Tenten ever since he came back. He assumed that she must have been busy training or doing team missions. Naruto was, however, still confused with his feelings. He knew that they couldn't be resolved in a matter of days and it would take a long time to come to terms with it. Naruto did think about the destruction Konoha averted thanks to the sacrifice of the third Hokage. Sasuke and Lee were still recuperating in the hospital according to Sakura and Ino. Both were hysterical when he came back injured. Naruto, though, really didn't care. He never even spoke to the guy, he was always so reclusive. Naruto looked up in the sky and knew it was going to be a long day, so decided to pack and have a little fun. Naruto walked into the Hokage's office to see Tsunade sipping some sake and daydreaming. Though Hokages were supposed to be busy. "You know, whenever I usually came in here, the old man at least attempted to show that he was working," Naruto told Tsunade, who just looked back at him with a lazy expression. He could see she really didn't give a damn and was being lazy. Naruto also wanted to ask but never found the courage, were her breasts really natural, and if not, why did she make them so huge? "Well, at least I got one thing to do, which is upgrade security and make sure they don't allow snot-nosed brats in," Tsunade finished saying, throwing her cup into her drawer and taking out a pen. "In your time spent with me, has there ever been a time where snot has ever come out of my nose? I mean, seriously, have you?" Naruto asked his leader, who seemed to grow more frustrated by the minute. Naruto really liked to piss off Tsunade because she would always react. "Naruto, what are you doing here? Don't you have a mission that you should be getting ready for?" Tsunade asked in a pathetic voice which she hoped would make Naruto go away. Naruto stopped his ranting and looked at Tsunade dead in the eye. Ever since he came back with her, he wanted to know how she did her cool medic justice and freakish strength. "Well, you see, the thing is, I was kind of hoping you would teach me a couple of jutsus and how you have all that strength. I mean your medical justice are so cool, Naruto finished saying with a big old grin. Tsunade was shocked that someone would find her techniques actually cool. A big part of her was jumping up and down when she thought someone actually thought they were useful. Practically most of the shinobi world thought medic shinobi were a waste of skill. Tsunade didn't give Naruto a chance to speak another word as she grabbed him and dragged him out of the office to a secluded training area. Naruto was sitting down breathing heavily after finishing his training with Tsunade. Apparently not many people liked medical-based jutsus. Tsunade wouldn't teach Naruto most of the complicated jutsus because you really needed to know about the subject and what you were doing. You're already tired, I thought the big bad, raging storm, would put up more than this. Tsunade taunted Naruto in a very childish manner which brought back memories of her doing that to Jiraiya. Naruto though just glared at her and resumed catching his breath. How could a Chunin keep up with a Hokage? Tsunade wasn't a person to hold back her punches, and what punch she packed. Well, I told you using my techniques take a lot of chakra control. Even though yours isn't bad, it's still not perfect, but if you keep practicing those ones I told, then that should be fine. Tsunade explained to an exhausted Naruto who just nodded. Tsunade had told him that it takes a shinobi with near-perfect chakra control to use medical jutsus properly. She however taught Naruto a different form of her taijutsu. Apparently the first Hokage was very powerful in his punches and she had a couple of scrolls, which she remodeled to create her style. Naruto of course accepted these scrolls with a big cheer. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to learn medical jutsus is so that when I do go on a mission I can actually help with minor or mediocre injuries. Naruto replied back to Tsunade. She smiled when she heard Naruto say that. He really cared for his friends and would do anything for them. A long silence seemed to erupt around them, so Tsunade decided she would break it. So, how long have you been able to do wood element jutsus? Tsunade asked him when she sat next to Naruto. Naruto though looked shocked that she knew. I read Sandame's files, there's a lot of crazy things you did. Tsunade answered Naruto's shocked expression. Naruto smiled, glad that he could confide in someone new even if she was an old woman disguised as a young woman. Sure thing Tsunade Ba-chan, Naruto said to the angry Tsunade, who smacked him in the head for calling her an old woman. Naruto, Raiden and Mai stood at the village gates waiting for the team leader whom they still didn't know. They were all prepared for the mission and couldn't wait to start their first official B-rank mission. Oh great, so you're the brats that are coming with me on the mission. The three Chunin heard a voice call out from behind them to see the second examiner of the Chunin exam. Oh great, we have a mission with a homicidal manic, Naruto groaned out loud. Hey, I am not homicidal, I just like to see blood, that's all. Anko replied back to Naruto, who just groaned out loud. This mission was going to be crazy in half with this wacko in charge. Okay little Chunins, let's move out. Anko ordered them in a light tone and started to walk out of the village. The three Chunin sighed and trudged along, hoping she wouldn't do anything rash or crazy. Well, now that we are all together I can tell you the mission details. Anko spoke out while drawing the attention of the three shinobi behind her. They wanted to know what they were doing and needed to memorize the details. We have to protect a village on the outskirts of Fire Country from hired mercenaries. You see, ever since the attack, Konoha has been stretched thin and some big shot slave dealer thinks he can muscle his way into Fire Country. Now we need to stop them from hurting the townspeople until they can hire some full-time bodyguards. Anko explained to the three Chunin who got the mission details. So do we know how many mercenaries there are, or is it some wild guess? Naruto asked Anko, who looked back and answered. Around 75 inches, Anko answered Naruto, who looked a bit pissed off because she seemed so calm. This is a B-rank mission, Raiden said out loud, voicing his thoughts. The only reason this is a B-rank mission and not higher is because they didn't hire missing nins, they're all non-shinobi. Anko replied to the statement Raiden said. They all knew that they had to be on top form if they wanted to be on top. It would take 2 days to reach the village, so they would have to camp for today until they reached their destination. Naruto looked at Raiden and Mai. There seemed to be some really thick tension between them. Hopefully it wouldn't come in the way when the mission begins. Naruto sat down as he finished setting up his tent. Mai went to fetch some water while Raiden went to get some firewood. Anko came back dragging a wild boar. Naruto's sweat dropped at the sight of Anko smiling and hurling a dead boar into the middle of the campsite. Naruto of course was in charge of keeping the campsite secure. But he was given that task because he was so slow in pitching up his tent. So it seems the campsite's in order, Anko said to Naruto while she looked around with her eerie grins she seemed to wear constantly. I didn't know slavery still existed, Naruto told Anko, who sat next to him. She looked at Naruto with a questioning gaze before replying. You may think slavery is gone, but there are still some sick bastards who raid villages and take people, mostly young girls. Anko answered Naruto's question with a sigh. Naruto looked at Anko. She was looking at the setting sun, which looked quite breathtaking. But Naruto was never person to like that sort of stuff. He liked looking at stars and wondering what shape they would make. Naruto had heard from quite a number of shinobi of Anko being a shinobi that no one besides a few wanted to work with. She seemed to have the same bad reputation as him but not as worse. What is it, kid, wondering why people are scared of me? Anko spoke to Naruto, who visibly jumped when Anko asked that question. For a split second Naruto thought she could read minds. I could see it on your face, kid, you're like an open book. Didn't they teach you in the academy to guard your emotions? Anko asked the recently made Chunin. Naruto though didn't get to answer as Raiden and Mai conveniently decide to arrive at the same time. Instead he was in charge of cooking and starting the fire. Naruto though couldn't help but wonder what Anko meant. He never knew that he was so easy to read. Naruto thought that he seriously needed to check out ways to guard his emotions. Naruto always though he was great at hiding what he felt. Ever since he was 6 he could always cover up the pain with a goofy grin. Maybe that wasn't working anymore and he needed a different approach to guard his feelings. Naruto and the rest of the team were looking up at the night sky. Naruto really loved watching the stars. It was probably the only thing he did silently or without breaking a bone. Okay kids, I'll take first watch and then I will wake up Naruto to take next watch, Anko told the 3 Chunins, who nodded. Naruto needed to get some rest if he was able to keep up with the rest of the team tomorrow. The 4 Konoha shinobi had finally made it to the village and were glad as well. Even though Naruto liked camping, he liked sleeping on a proper bed more. Well, here we are. Hopefully there haven't been any attacks, Naruto spoke with a sigh in his voice while the village gatekeeper checked their identification. The team continued on walking through the village looking at the people. This village seemed to be a simple fishing village with a dock for allowing exports. This must a new village, Raiden announced to the group, who nodded in agreement. It made sense because usually settlements built next to the sea or a large river becomes quite big very quickly. Yeah, it makes sense why a slave trader would find this village of great importance. Mai shared her opinion on the matter. A slave trader would be able to send and take people quickly and have auctions. Ah, Konoha shinobi, you have finally arrived, this is good. A lot of people were getting worried. A young man with glasses said as he strode next to them. I am the village leader and I requested assistance when my sources told me that the slave trader known as Rugal had set his eyes on my town, the young leader told the group. Oh, how rude of me, my name is Seda Kiyoshiro, but you can call me Kyo. Kiyoshiro introduced himself to the group. Naruto and Komaid gave their names and rank, hoping that it quashes the nervous feeling this town was having. For now the 4 shinobi would scout the town to see if there any weakness they could try and fix. Naruto noticed this town did seem to have a lot of young people a couple years older than him. Naruto, however, wasn't looking where he was walking and bumped into something soft that made a soft sound as it landed on the floor. Naruto looked down, see a girl who was probably 16 years of age lying on the floor rubbing her bottom. Sorry I wasn't looking while I was walking. Naruto rubbed the back of his head while giving his other arm to lift her up. The young girl took his arm and hoisted herself up and dusted her clothes. No harm done, as long as you're sorry it's fine, the girl replied to Naruto. Naruto though started to blush when he saw her smile. He would have to be blind not to see that she really good looking. Of course Naruto's inner pervert started to grow bigger and shout obscene things at him. You must be the shinobis that my brother hired, the young told Naruto with another one of her smiles that made Naruto blush even further. Oh, how rude of me, my name is Seda Yuna. Yuna told Naruto, who chuckled inside. It seemed the Seda siblings were alike with their introductions. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, pleased to meet you. Naruto gave his introduction with a foxy grin. Well, I have to go, sorry to cut our meeting short, I will see you around. With that said, Yuna walked off to her original direction and Naruto was left staring at her backside and her shapely. Wow bro, you sure do work fast, and she's older than you. Naruto felt Raiden next to him giving him one of his Raiden type smiles. The ones where you just want to punch him. There's nothing going on, I just bumped into her by accident. Naruto defended himself from Raiden's fun making. Oh, that reminds me of a funny joke I heard. Raiden replied back, making Naruto groan out loud. Naruto though drifted if and looked at the brown-haired green-eyed girl who he encountered. She was beautiful, that was for sure, but didn't he like Tenten? Okay peeps, it seems we are here for the long stay. Until those lovely slave traders come we have to sit quietly and bide our time. In an over-cheery tone she liked to talk in. Anko seemed to not care how long they were staying, seeing as they served dango. The 3 Chunins though had plenty of time to explore and train and hopefully be prepared for the The whole team heard a shrill scream come from outside and quickly went out to investigate. When they reached outside, the whole village seemed to be gathered in the center, almost forming a circle. They saw a bloody man lying on the floor struggling to breathe. Naruto quickly went to his side and saw that his pulse was erratic. "Does this village have a doctor?" Anko shouted out to the crowd, who nodded, and one boy quickly ran to presumably the doctor's house. Naruto though needed to stop the bleeding, so quickly did a number of hand seals. A green glow started to emanate from the boy's hand, but it was a very low color. Naruto started to grit his teeth. The problem with using this with not near prefect chakra was that it would suck yours out really quickly. But slowly the wounds started to heal, and Naruto placed his hands over his heart to stop his erratic heartbeat, to at least get it to have a slow, steady rhythm. Anko looked out from the crowd to see a man and woman run towards them. It looked like the village doctor, and they ran into the middle of the crowd. Both man and woman knelt beside Naruto and looked to see what he was doing. Naruto looked up in frustration. "Hey, are you doctors or sightseers? Can't you see this man is dying?" With that said, they started to work next to Naruto, was pouring a lot of chakra to get his heart to stop going crazy and heal the scars inside. "Right then, sir, we will take it from here." Naruto looked up and nodded and started to walk back with a bit of dizziness. Anko quickly held him up and was rewarded with a typical Naruto thank you smile. "I didn't know you were able to do medical-based justice," Raiden said with a bit of pride in his voice. Naruto looked back at him with a weak smile. "I asked Tsunade to teach me some basic medical techniques. I was able to learn one, and I need more practice on the other ones. But I just needed to calm his heart down. Also to stop the minor bleedings." Naruto answered his best friend's questioning stare. "But if you don't have perfect chakra control, you end up huffing and puffing like Naruto here," Anko told the group, who saw that only a few ever became medics. "I hope he will be alright," Mai asked in a concerned voice while looking at the man. It was the worst when you couldn't do anything but watch a person suffer. "Yeah, but what attacked him?" Naruto asked in a tired voice while looking at the man. "More like whom?" Raiden said as he pointed to the bloody cuts the man's shirt seemed to have, which a very sharp object only caused. The whole town seemed to be on edge after the attack on the villager. The four shinobi were sitting outside the waiting room of the hospital waiting for the doctors to finish. The village leader took it upon himself to ask the villagers questions on what had happened to the man. Naruto was quietly snoozing his head in Mai's lap while she just combed his hair through her fingers. "It's amazing that Naruto is able to do so many things at such a young age." Mai spoke in fondness of the boy she grew to love as a little brother. Mai was glad she was placed on the same team as Naruto. She knew that he would a very dear friend right to the end. "Hey, you two, don't sell yourself short. I saw your fights in the Chunin exam, and let me say you guys pack a powerful punch," Anko told the group. "I saw each of your records, and let me say that not many people your age impress me like you three," Anko finished saying, drumming her fingers against her face. "Well, I am going to see where the weirdo with glasses is," Anko told the two shinobi as she walked out of the room. Raiden was in deep though. He was trying to think who would go to such lengths to beat a man to near death and leave him. "What are you thinking about, Rai?" Mai asked her other teammate, who seemed to be in a trance. Raiden looked up in surprise at the use of his name. It seemed like she created a nickname for him. "Nothing much, just wondering who would do such a thing," Raiden replied back hesitantly, not sure how to reply to Mai anymore. It seemed an awkward silence was created between the two. As Raiden tired to think of something to say but always closed his mouth right at the end. "So how was your date with Kiba?" Raiden asked Mai, and as soon as he said those words he started to kick himself. "Yeah, that's great icebreaker, Raiden. Why don't you ask her if she likes Kiba next?" "Man, I am so stupid." Raiden though to himself. Mai looked a bit shocked at the question. "It was okay, but I don't think there's anything there," Mai replied back and smiled at her friend, who had a pink tinge when she smiled at him. Raiden told Mai she would find someone she would like eventually. In his rare moments of wisdom, Raiden showed that he wasn't an idiot who told lame jokes. Raiden got up and kneeled in front of Naruto's face, which was facing away from Mai's body. "He really goes above and beyond, doesn't he?" Mai asked Raiden, who just nodded. "But why do the older generation hate him so much?" Raiden questioned, but got a blank stare from Mai, who didn't know the answer. There was something about Naruto that struck hatred in the eyes of the villagers, but why? "Why don't we ask him after the mission? I am sure he will tell us. I mean, we are his best friends." Mai answered Raiden, who nodded in agreement. Whatever it was, they would always be with Naruto, through thick and thin. A groaning sound comes from Naruto, which alerts the two shinobi. Naruto felt much better after that quick nap, but he felt something his hair comb his golden hair. "Finally, we thought you would be out for the whole day." Naruto looked up to see Mai's cheery face greet him. Naruto slowly lifted his head to realize he was taking a nap on Mai's lap. He thanked for keeping him comfortable, which she brushed off. Naruto looked around to see they were still in the doctor's waiting room. "It seems you're awake, Naruto. That's good. I won't have to explain myself twice." Enko called out to them, but was cut off by the doctor's room door opening and a frantic man walking out to them. "I'm sorry to interrupt you," But our patient woke for a couple of minutes to say that he saw an encampment of mercenaries not too far from the village. The doctor spoke frantically. Ah! The four shinobi looked at each other and quickly ran out of the room towards the center of the village. To see a large force of men with weapons walk into the village. The four shinobi looked at the army of men who pushed their way into the village and looked around. Naruto started to growl seeing these monsters come into this village and take people and make them into slaves. So do we take them all out or do we scare them? Naruto whispered to Anko, who looked at him and answered. We wipe them all out. Konoha's stance on slavery is to kill all who enforce it. Anko whispered her reply to Naruto and the team, who only nodded in response. Naruto saw the men start to gather in the village square. The team waited for Anko's orders for them to respond because she was team leader. Anko was waiting for they were about to do, but from the looks of it they were just coming here raid the village of the young. Okay. Our first priority is to make sure none of the villagers are hurt. Anko explained to the three chunins, who nodded and started to walk out into the front of the crowd. The army of mercenaries stopped when they saw four people emerge from the crowd and stand their ground. We have come here to take what we want. Anyone who dares to try and stop us will die a slow and painful death. It seemed the lead mercenary had already spoke. The four shinobi looked at each other and let out a big sigh. Well, we would say some grand speech, but seeing people like you never learn, we'll skip that part and just kill you. Anko proclaimed, making the three chunin let out an even bigger sigh at the words of their team leader. Like all melodramatic villains, they all started to laugh out loud. Anko looked a bit pissed off and threw a kunai straight at a man's throat, instantly killing him. All the mercenaries seemed to stop at once when one of their men was killed so quickly. The three other chunins looked a bit shocked that Anko would be ticked off so quickly. However, the mercenaries weren't going to take this lying down and charge them. Naruto looked ready and excited that he was able to fight and test his strength. So he did a quick number of hand seals. Kachiyose no Jutsu, summoning technique. When the smoke cleared, it revealed a large monkey slightly larger than Anko. Yo King, the first need you to turn into the diamond pole, Naruto asked the Monkey King Enma. Enma of course obliged, already accepting the young boy as a great shinobi. Enma quickly turned into the diamond pole and Naruto grabbed him, ready to dish out some pain. It seemed the mercenaries were quite inexperienced because they didn't know what it was like to fight against a shinobi. Anko was having fun taking down all these steroid-enhanced freaks that though muscle could beat anyone. Naruto looked in front and saw 5 of them charge him without thinking. Naruto smirked. This was too easy. He showed them why he was so brutal with a staff. He effortlessly knocked out each one of the thugs. Raiden used one of his lighting jutsus to fry some of the men completely. Retreat! It seemed one of the men shouted out, but the 4 shinobi were not going to let them get away. However, Naruto saw something from the corner of his eye. The young leader of the village came running up to him. Please, you must help me. They have taken Yuna just west of here, Kyo said to Naruto in a pleading voice, hoping that he would bring his little sister back. Naruto looked back at his teammates and they looked like they could take care of themselves. Naruto nodded and went off in the direction of the 5 mercenaries. Naruto was running at an insane amount of speed, trying to catch up with mercenaries who went after Yuna. Naruto sensed that they stopped and quickened his pace even further. As he approached the 5 mercenaries, he sensed that yet another figure was with them. But Naruto couldn't help but feel a sort of dread. Naruto landed a few feet from the men and drew the diamond pole from his back. Yuna saw Naruto land and shouted out his name. Naruto. Naruto, though, saw someone emerge from the shadows to see a man wearing a black robe. On his head was a black straw hat, which seemed to cover his black hair and eyes. Naruto deduced that this guy really liked the color black. But there was something unnerving about this man. Like his eyes could see anything and he was in complete control of everything. The man went to Yuna and picked her up by the neck to see into her eyes. Naruto, though, couldn't take any more of this and quickly charged the mercenaries, effectively knocking them away. By the time he finished taking out the guys, the man had thrown Yuna away. Naruto rushed to her side and checked her pulse to see if she was okay. So Konoha shinobis are here. How amusing, the mysterious man spoke to Naruto in a slow voice, making the words sound boring as Raiden's jokes. Naruto looked up, as the man seemed to draw into a stance. So you are the person responsible for this. I won't forgive you, Naruto spoke out in rage as he brought his staff into one of his stances. Both fighters started to circle one another. From what Naruto could see, this man left no openings. He might as well be a shinobi. Meaning Naruto would have to go all out. The mysterious man seemed to crack his fingers by using one hand and summon a red sword from nowhere. Bloody sword. Now that didn't sound good to Naruto. If a technique is called that, that only spelled trouble. Both fighters charged each other, both of their weapons hitting each other. Naruto found this guy was quite powerful and looked like he was taking a stroll through Konoha Park. Naruto jumped back and brought his fist into the air. Wind release. Screw upper Naruto threw a red hurricane at the man hoping it would shred him. Naruto quickly picked up Yuna and left her in a more secure place. When Naruto came back he saw the man was still standing there and he seemed to be unfazed. He brought out one hand and said something under his breath. Bloody hurricane. The first Naruto noticed was that the blood that was pooling from underneath the dead mercenaries started to rise and spinning. The second thing Naruto noticed was that this hurricane of blood was heading for him. Naruto brought both hands out and started to form wind chakra around the arms. Wind release. Spiral wind. Naruto started spin and gathered a lot of wind, which deflected the bloody hurricane and pushed the black-robed man. Once the wind cleared, the mysterious man ran straight towards Naruto ready to punch him. Naruto saw this was his opportunity to do one of his original attacks. He started to run at him and dodge his punch. Uzumaki Clan Taijutsu, Rising Dragon Wind Uppercut. Naruto gave the man a huge uppercut, which sent him flying into the air, but Naruto wasn't done and quickly used his Shunshin technique to appear behind him. Uzumaki Clan Ninjutsu, Power Dunk. Naruto gathered chakra into his hand and punched the robe man in his back. Once his hand connected, Naruto made his chakra push off the body and explode the chakra. When Naruto landed on the ground he was sure that the man wouldn't get up, but was sadly mistaken when the man seemed to get up like nothing happened to him. He dusted himself and put his hat back on. Well, it seems Konoha shinobi are training themselves quite fiercely these days. Naruto heard the man drawl out and look at him. Naruto needed a plan and quick because at the rate this guy was taking his technique Naruto wouldn't stand a chance. Naruto saw the robed man do something else though. He started to do hand seals. Blood seemed to come out of the dead mercenaries' bodies and become spikes. They started to go up into the sky. Bloody rain. Naruto heard the black color-loving man whisper out. Naruto quickly countered with another technique. Wood release. Woodhaven wood started to sprout forth from the ground and encircle him, saving him from the spiky blood. Naruto needed to catch his breath, as this guy was incredibly strong. When Naruto retracted the dome of wood he saw the hat-wearing man to be completely gone. Naruto. Naruto heard Raiden's voice shout out from behind him as he saw him carrying Yuna. Naruto quickly looked around to see if there were any traces of the man still there, but he was gone. There was no way he imagined that fight. Hey Naruto, you okay? Raiden called out but received no response. Raiden wasn't even trying. These mercenaries were so weak that he could take them out with one hand. Mai seemed to think the exact same thing and was thinking that they should have made this a C-rank mission instead. As Raiden looked at the dead bodies of the mercenaries he couldn't find Naruto. Guys, where's Naruto? Raiden shouted out to the two female shinobi who looked a bit miffed at being called a guy. Oh Raiden-san, Naruto-san went to rescue my sister who was taken by some mercenaries. Kyo shouted towards the group who looked a bit worried. Well, Naruto shouldn't have taken so long. I am going to go after him. Raiden told the rest of the group and ran off before they could say anything else. Raiden was running through the forest when he felt two chakra spikes. Oh god, this isn't good. If Naruto is using that much chakra that must mean something happened, Raiden thought to himself. But when he reached there all he saw was an exhausted Naruto. He had found Yuna on the way and she seemed to be unconscious, most likely from the stress of the situation. Hey Naruto, are you okay? Raiden asked his friend but received no answer. Listen, we should head back. All the mercenaries in the village are dead. I think some escaped but they won't come back after the beating we gave them, Raiden said to his friend who only nodded and got up to follow him back to the village. The four shinobi bid farewell to the little village after receiving their paychecks. All the mercenaries were dealt with quickly and effectively. There was no way the same man was going after the town again. But for some reason Naruto knew that the reason for coming after the town wasn't for slaves but for someone. Apparently it wasn't Yuna they were after but a girl with her criteria. He could only wonder who the weirdo was. So you're saying this guy commanded blood? Sounds like Anko-san's type of guy. Everyone chuckled at Mai's comment and she got a friendly whack from Anko on the back. Hey Naruto, I saw Yuna giving you a big thank you kiss, Raiden called out in a teasing manner. Naruto simply grumbled at Raiden's comment. Oh Naruto, you're going to grow up to become one hell of a heartbreaker. When Anko said that, everyone besides Naruto started to crack up at his expense. Naruto sighed out loud. Everyone seemed to be love teasing or making him embarrassed. So you returned empty-handed? A man asked. He was sitting on a chair. His hair was spiky white and he had two strips coming down his cheeks. He was wearing a colorful robe, which showed that the man must be color-blind to wear such ridiculous clothes. Yes, your intelligence was completely off. The girl didn't have the key. But I did find something interesting, the black-robed shinobi told the man. Oh, what did you find this time, Asura? The white-haired man asked Asura. Asura merely smiled and explained his fight with the blonde-haired kid. He was strong for a boy his age. So Konoha doesn't seem to be in ruin after all. No matter, he is probably just random shinobi that will give his life for a flawed village. The white-haired man replied and looked up in a thoughtful fashion. We must continue our search for the key. I must find that key, the white-haired man finished saying with a generic evil laugh right at the end. I'm sorry I left you guys by yourself. I hope no one was hurt in the village, Naruto said in an apologetic tone. Anko looked at Naruto and shook her head. Don't worry, it's fine. I mean, as long as you got that girl back, then it's fine. Besides, those mercenaries were more easier to fight than a group of genins. Anko told Naruto, who looked up at the stars as well. Mai and Raiden were asleep, which left Naruto and Anko to keep watch. Because of the fighting, they decided to keep watch in groups of 2. So, Naruto said, not sure what to say in such a silent situation. Naruto was never a person who could stay quiet in a silent time. You have some great friends, kid. They really admire you, Anko told Naruto in a whimsical tone while staring at the night sky as well. Naruto though looked at Anko in confusion. He didn't know what brought up this conversation. Well, they are great friends, but I haven't told them why the villagers hate me, Naruto answered the fishnet-wearing Junin. Anko looked at Naruto for a moment before answering. At least you have a choice to tell people why the villagers hate you, Anko told Naruto, who looked up in surprise. Naruto didn't know there was someone like him in the village. So, why did the villagers hate you? Naruto asked Anko hesitantly. Naruto didn't want to pressure Anko into telling him. My sensei was Orochimaru, Anko told Naruto, who looked shocked. Even though Naruto had met Orochimaru once, he couldn't help but think she shared some of his traits. But Anko-san, no one in the village hates you. Actually, you have quite a few Junin friends, Naruto said in an incredulous tone. Anko merely smiled at Naruto's obvious disbelief. Well, I have friends now, Naruto. You see, after all these years I have finally been able to gain the respect of my fellow shinobi. That's why I like you, kid. You keep trying and you work hard. So you deserve that promotion more than anyone else, Anko told Naruto, who smiled at Anko's praise. For a second there you sounded like super fuzzy eyebrows, with the hard work speech, Naruto said to Anko in a playful tone. Anko visibly shuddered to being compared to that fashion reject. Naruto just let out a low laugh at Anko's expense. That was another person to add to his list of precious people. Naruto knew that this night would be long, so took out his jutsu notebook to jot down all the techniques he knew. Thanks for watching. Also remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.